The TribLive High School Sports Network is your home for high school sports. We broadcast over 2,000 high school sporting events each year, over 15 sports, and across 10 counties. Visit us online at hssn.triblive.com and find the latest in high school sports news, along with live and archive broadcasts, scores, stats, standings, and more, including premium shows live from the Excella Health Studios. TribLive High School Sports Network, the official video and audio streaming network of the WPIAL.
You're getting a good look at George Novak Field at the Wolvarena in beautiful Turtle Creek, Pennsylvania. The 2018 high school football season is finally upon us, and we're kicking things off with the Western PA versus Everyone Showcase. The first game of 6 over the weekend is on tap between the Peters Township Indians and West Toronto Prep. Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon Rossi, joined by my partner, RJ Leisie. RJ, good to have you on the TribLive High School Sports Network. And this Peters Township team, historically not known for football success as of late, but judging off of what happened last year and knowing how many returners are back, things are looking up for the first time in a long time at Peters Township.
Yeah, you're looking at them last year, finished 7-4 overall, 4-2 record in 6A Southeastern. Made it to the playoffs. Unfortunately, lost in the opening round, which was the quarterfinals for 6A against Central Catholic by a final of 27-20. But you mentioned they bring back a lot of playmakers, a lot of their offensive line, which is huge. We've seen it in high school football, and it's going to help a young sophomore quarterback at Logan Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Pfeiffer taking over the reins of Jake Cortez, who graduated last year and actually walked on at the University of Pittsburgh, so all the best to him over at the University of Pittsburgh. But the good news for Pfeiffer, he's got an array of weapons around his disposal, such as Josh Casilli and the dual-threat running backs Adrian Williams and Ryan Majewski.
Yeah, Majewski and Williams last year both had a pair of 100-yard rushing games. Williams last year almost 500 total yards. Majewski did reach that 500 plateau, and then Casilli had over 500 yards receiving and 5 touchdowns. So you have the weapons. Now it's just whether the quarterback can get the ball in their hands.
And now flipping on the other side, you look at this West Toronto Prep team. They're a bit of an enigma around this area. They're a second-year program. They actually take kids from all around Canada. Some kids go from as far as Ottawa, which is about a 5-hour drive from Toronto, just to give you a bit of an idea of just how far they reach out. This is just to give Canadian football players in high school a bit of a taste of American football. And Coach T.J. Plack, third-year head coach at Peters Township, says he feels a bit unprepared for this game just because he knows so little about this team.
Well, as you mentioned, it's a second-year program trying to get these kids familiarized with American football, not Canadian football. There is a numerous difference in the rules and everything that goes on there. But, they're looking to get them experience and get them into some of the colleges, D1, D2, all the way down to D3. And you can understand it's perplexing to Peters Township because it's perplexing to probably a lot of people on their schedule for West Toronto Prep this year.
Peters Township coming out onto the field right now out of the right end zone wearing the brand new Under Armour red jerseys, white with white numerals, black trim, and the white pants with the white helmets and black face mask. West Toronto Prep, it will be on the near side of us at the Wolvarena, wearing white jerseys, gold numerals, black trim, and gold pants with the gold helmet and the white face mask. Here at George Novak Field, the home of the Wolvarena and also the home of a longtime great in the annals of Western Pennsylvania football, George Novak, won over 300 career games, was for the longest time the only coach Woodland Hills has ever known. That obviously changed following the 2016 season. But George Novak certainly left a lasting impression, not just at Woodland Hills, but in Western Pennsylvania as a whole.
Yeah, and for the inaugural year of the Western PA versus Everybody Showcase, what better place to have it than probably one of the most recognizable high school football stadiums in all of Western Pennsylvania, going all the way up through District 10 and up into Erie and Erie Cathedral Prep. People know about the Wolvarena, and it's a great place to come, and you got a lot of stands. Perfect place to show off this little showcase they've started this year.
And let's be honest, the Wolvarena, in terms of notoriety, the only stadium that I could think of in high school football that compares to it in Pittsburgh is probably the Pit in Aliquippa.
Yes.
And I know you've been there, and it's a very different atmosphere up there. Woodland Hills getting the brand new turf last year. Obviously not a whole lot changing to the atmosphere, but still a fun time to come out and watch some high school football where some of the greats in high school football have played, such as recently Miles Sanders, who's going to be the starting running back at Penn State, Jason Taylor from the Miami Dolphins for a while, Lafayette Pitts, of Pitt fame, just to name a couple of kids. You'll see Woodland Hills actually tomorrow night in the final game of our Western PA versus Everyone Showcase. Captains now meeting at midfield for West Toronto Prep. Number 52 is Samson Medeiros. He'll be playing center. Also in the captain line for West Toronto Prep, Ethan Payne. He'll be the sophomore quarterback. Jason Briones, senior wide receiver, along with Vincent Ricci. And in addition, Omari Hastings, who's undoubtedly the best lineman that this West Toronto Prep team boasts. He's one of the few returners from a year ago. Peters Township's captains, it's mainly the linemen, in addition with Gabe Maloney, wide receiver, and the other four starters, Rob Corrado, Shane O'Connell, and Ian Choudhury, coming out onto the field. The other captain would be Grant Nelson.
And you're only allowed to, West Toronto Prep walking out with the 5, Peters going with their 4, but their other captain is standing on the sideline.
So Peters Township electing to put its defense out first, and Peters Township had the number 2 defense in the Southeastern Conference a year ago. When you look at conference play, Peters Township was really only behind one team in Norwin or in Bethel Park in conference play, and then they were second behind Norwin in overall defense.
And you look at last year, Peters Township defeated Norwin in what was a defensive battle by the final 13-7. They would fall to Bethel Park 28-7. Bethel Park showing that stout defense in conference in the Southeastern and 6A. But a whole new year for Peters Township. They moved down to 5A classification, the Allegheny 8 conference. They moved with Bethel Park. Kind of a wide open show this year in the Allegheny Conference. And what a better way to start than opening the season non-conference, not even non-state matchup, but a chance to get a win on the board.
How about this statistic? The last time that a Canadian team has played a WPIAL football team, you actually don't have to go that far back. It's 2016 when Canada Prep Academy came to North Allegheny to take on Penn Hills. That was a game where Cam Tarrant broke out to be one of the premier quarterbacks for that season. Cam Tarrant now a wide receiver at Cal U. And now West Toronto Prep takes the field for its second season. Last year went 1-3, but the teams that West Toronto Prep played were absolutely no slouch. Losses to Archbishop Hoban, the number 1 team in Ohio, Cathedral Prep, state champions, and Erie, who competed for district gold as well. And the 2018 season is underway. Brunswick's with the kick. It's fielded way back at the 5-yard line by the return man, and there's flags that fly behind the play, and a great open field tackle at the 5-yard line by Seth Luxick, returning from the hand injury. And that was John Labemba returning for West Toronto Prep. And this could be pitting West Toronto Prep even further back in its own territory to begin the game.
On the return, you make a block in the back. On the return team, half the distance to the ball, first and 10.
That's our call from our head referee, Dave Opanowski. He's assisted by umpire Mike Piro, linesman Chaz Simone, line judge Matt Stevenson. The side judge is Phil Vasco, and the field judge is Junior Scott. So West Toronto Prep pit all the way back at its own 3-yard line. Certainly unideal circumstances for West Toronto Prep to begin its season. Ethan Payne is in the shotgun, standing in his own end zone. He gives the handoff to the running back. That's Justin Fawcett carrying and maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. Corman Hondrew, who led the team in tackles last year as a freshman, starts his sophomore season with a bang and gets the tackle for no gain.
Yeah, nice job there by the Peters front seven. They run a traditional 4-3, and they were able to stand at the line, a bigger line they're going to go up against in West Toronto Prep, and held them to no gain.
Average offensive line for West Toronto Prep, 6'1", 301 pounds. And Peters Township, with some defensive shifts, able to get West Toronto Prep off its game already. That was Kieran Mahari Bradshaw who flinched for West Toronto Prep.
Just a couple simple movements at the line by Peters Township, but it got West Toronto Prep and Mahari Bradshaw off his guard, and he flinched just enough. He actually took a little back step and half the distance to the goal and makes it now 2nd and 11.
And if things couldn't get any worse, West Toronto Prep's back all the way at its 1.5-yard line. Payne in the shotgun, drops back. Drop for a safety. Seth Luxick getting in on the sack, able to wrap up his legs. And Payne nowhere to go, and early on, it's 2-0 Peters Township with 10:37 to play in the first quarter.
Great defensive pressure by the defensive line as they're able to penetrate, force the pocket to collapse, and Luxick comes on the far outside, swings back around, grabs around the ankle, and forces the safety in an early points for Peters Township.
Certainly not the way West Toronto Prep wanted to start, but on the other side, Peters Township showing its defensive presence early, and there's not many better ways you'd love to start if you're Peters Township.
No, you get the benefit of a penalty, 2 penalties really. You force a safety, and now you get the ball back with good field position because it's going to have to be kicked from the 20-yard line, so you're at least going to get it between the 30 and the 50 at the minimum for Peters Township. So a perfect start to the season and looking to get themselves going and potentially being one of those 5A contenders this year.
Kicking off for West Toronto Prep will be Ryan Butler. And back deep to receive for Peters Township, 2 of its main offensive threats, Adrian Williams, a first-team all-conference running back, and Josh Casilli, first-team all-conference wide receiver. Casilli, third-year starter. Williams in his 2nd season as the starter for the Indians. He'll split time in the backfield with Ryan Majewski. West Toronto Prep down early, 2-0, with 10:22 to play in quarter number 1. West Toronto Prep got outscored on average a year ago, 41-10. And its only win came against Capital Prep, which is a Catholic school in Connecticut. Butler tees it up and kicks it to the right side. It'll be fielded by Williams at the 32-yard line. Adrian Williams trying to fight his way past a couple of defenders, and he's going to be wrapped up by Michael Rochon for West Toronto Prep. And Peters Township has solid field position at its own 44-yard line, 1st and 10. And now we're going to get our first glimpse at the Peters Township offense, returning numerous starters from a year ago, but with a new quarterback at the helm, Logan Pfeiffer taking over for Jake Cortez. He actually goes by Mojo, but head coach TJ Plack refused to call him Mojo until he got his first start at QB, so I guess now you can say that he can be referred to as Mojo from everybody at Peters Township.
Well, he's going to look to get the mojo going. As you mentioned, played 2 games last year for Peters and had a little success, was 4 for 10. Now trying to build upon it and take overall.
1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. Luxick barks out some orders. 2 receivers to each side. Now Hondru goes in motion. The handoff goes to Ryan Majewski, and Majewski with a little finesse spin move into West Toronto Prep territory, spinning his way past a couple of defenders and gets down to the 49-yard line for a 7-yard pickup.
Yeah, Vincent Ritchie, nice tackle there at the shoelace because Majewski was putting that spin move on and looked like he had open field and just tried to squeak out, but made it across the 50 to the 47-yard line, 49-yard line. They officially marked it in West Toronto Prep territory.
2nd down and 3. Again, it's Majewski on the counter from left to right and falls forward for the first down as he's brought down by one of the linebackers for West Toronto Prep, Trey Holness. And again, Peters Township gets the first down of the season.
And Peters Township, TJ Plack was telling us he's changed the offense from a pro style when he's come in to now a more spread option, and you see that with the motions going on early and the count.
A new set of downs. Majewski breaks it open, cuts to the left side, and he loses his balance as he gets tackled by the 35-yard line. Trying to turn the corner, had a wide open avenue, would have at least probably gotten to the 25 or 20-yard line, but couldn't stay afoot.
No, a nice little draw up the middle, then cuts it back out left and kind of just gets ahead of himself, looking at the defenders that were standing at the 30-yard line.
And Pfeiffer, screen pass. This is Maloney getting the first down and more. He's getting tackled at the 25-yard line of West Toronto Prep. Tackled on the play by Michael Rochon, who's the number 6 linebacker in the entire country of Canada. So he'll be a player to watch out for defensively for West Toronto Prep. 1st and 10 PT at the opposing 25-yard line. Peters leads 2-0. With 8:35 to play in the first, as Williams gets his first carry of the season, and he picks up first down yardage down past the 15-yard line. Tackled again by Rochon, who's had he's been on a couple of tackles already, but still this West Toronto Prep defense has not been able to stop Peters Township. Williams again. Off the no-huddle offense, Adrian Williams banged around, fighting forward to the 5-yard line, maybe about a half-yard shy of the first down as he's gang tackled by several West Toronto Prep players. Among them, leading the charge was Ryan Butler, the junior free safety.
Well, we mentioned him in the beginning of the broadcast, Chithari, he led the way on that little pull block to the right side coming from the left guard, opened the hole for Williams, and exploded for 9 yards and setting Peters Township up easily inside close to the 5.
Chaudhary, one of the many first-team all-conference players returning for Peters Township. The give is to Williams. Inside the 5 he goes, gets the first down as he's spun to the turf by Omari Hastings. But it'll be a 1st and goal for the Indians at the 3-yard line.
This is a nice quick tempo, but also ground and pound at the same time. You don't see those two go effectively together, but for Peters it's working. They're following their linemen who have come back, all of them seniors that are starting today.
Hondrew, the fullback, goes in motion as Majewski will finish off the drive with a 3-yard plunge to the end zone. Touchdown, Peters Township.
An easy run off the right guard, Grant Nelson, into the end zone. They got Peters Township, the whole drive, was able to get up into the linebacker core of West Toronto Prep and open those holes. You'll see right here, wide open hole, another pull right off the right guard into the end zone easily.
And you got to be impressed with this Peters Township offense. Though they may be undersized for the most part, they get after their guys, and even if it's not pancakes, they're able to get guys out of the way. Maloney's hauls in the high snap. It's blocked, and the play is blown dead from there. And the score remains 8-0. Peters Township with 7:37 to play in quarter number 1. We'll step aside here momentarily. You're listening to exclusive coverage of the 2018 WPIAL football season, and it's all here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Fear, not of better options, of rising loan rates. It's real. Rates have gone up, and Dollar Bank still has one of the lowest around. With a rate as low as 3.29% APR with only $50,000 borrowed, fixed for 7 years, there's nothing to fear. You can renovate the kitchen or update a bathroom or 2. So lock in your rate now before they, well, I don't want to say it out loud. If choosing the better option is your worry, you can be confident that Dollar Bank's loan experts have only your best interests in mind, since they're not paid a commission. So lock in your rate before they go up again. Get those home improvements done with a rate as low as 3.29% APR, fixed for 7 years. Longer terms are available. Stop by, call 1-800-242-BANK, or visit dollar.bank. Dollar Bank, mutually inspired. Rate is for well-qualified borrowers and includes a discount with a maintained qualifying checking account. Not available for the refinance of a Dollar Bank loan, line, or mortgage of less than $15,000 in new money. Monthly payment of $13.34 per $1,000 borrowed. Other terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Equal house.
Dollar Bank, one of our many sponsors for the 2018-19 high school football season, and really all of the high school season from fall to winter to spring sports. The TribLive High School Sports Network, big news for us, extending our agreement with the WPIAL as the official provider of WPIAL sports at least for the next several years. Big-time things coming up for the new TribLive High School Sports Network. So now Bruzowicz kicks things off for Peters Township. It'll be fielded at the 5-yard line by the up man for West Toronto Prep. That's Kevin Sabawa running towards the 30-yard line. He's tackled at the 28. Decent return for West Toronto Prep. Gives them more than desirable opening field position.
Well, anything's more desirable than what they had last time, and they suffered from a block in the back penalty. This time stayed clean and got a good return. Potential to see what this offense can do at full force in an open field rather than pinned deep in its own end zone.
West Toronto Prep started at its own 3-yard line to begin the game, and then Seth Luxick sacked quarterback Ethan Payne in the end zone for a safety. Then that was followed up by a Ryan Majewski 3-yard touchdown run. And again, this Peters Township defensive line shifting, 2 guys to the right, 2 guys to the left. And that was Malcolm Masinga who flinched on the offensive line. He's playing right guard.
And that was design motion by West Toronto Prep, and Peters was just following their own guy. But, Masinga lost count and went 1 snap too early, and another penalty, 3rd one so far for this West Toronto Prep team.
Veteran defensive line for Peters Township with 3 seniors and 1 junior who's a first-year starter, and Zach McNaughty on the left end. Man in motion again as Ethan Payne in the shotgun on 2. Fakes the screen, calls his own number, loses the ball as it was stripped by one of the crashing defensive ends, but Payne able to pounce on the ball before Peters can get onto it, and now it's 2nd and 15.
Yeah, he calls his own number, and he kind of holds it like a loaf of bread out there and making the play. Originally was Shane O'Connell who got the ankle of Payne and caused that ball to come loose, but if Payne has a better grasp on it, that ball doesn't even come loose. He just tried to palm it and lost control of it.
O'Connell lost a ton of weight due to him wrestling over the winter season. Dropped down to 210 pounds and was a second-team all-conference defensive tackle. Probably pound for pound the strongest kid on the team. And more movement again from this offensive line of West Toronto Prep. Not as much as Masinga a couple of plays ago, but it was just enough to catch the attention of our referee crew here tonight. And that'll back West Toronto Prep up 5 more yards.
And this is what you're probably going to see with players who aren't used to the American style and maybe not used to football completely, just learning it in their 2nd year potentially. And you're going to see some of this undisciplined penalties taken, these simple false starts, and causing deep field position now for West Toronto Prep.
That's the 4th penalty already on West Toronto Prep as Payne throws the curl route. It's hauled in by the receiver. A big hit there by the cornerback, Adrian Williams, on the wide receiver. That's Akeen Miller. He goes 6'4", but he was pounded by the diminutive cornerback, 5'8", Adrian Williams.
Perfect form tackle. Hit him right around the rib cage as Miller went up to make that play. A little high throw. If it's hit him in the chest, you might get a little stride and run out of him, but only a short pickup.
3rd down and 15. 8-0 is your score. Peters Township on top. Just over 6 minutes on a turning first quarter clock. The Western PA versus everyone showcase, and right now Western PA is dominated. Payne flushed out of the pocket, being chased by Luxick. Heaves one, it's dropped in front of the Peters Township bench by King Ambers, and West Toronto Prep sends out the punt team.
Yeah, Payne didn't have any time in the pocket that time, had to roll out to the far side of the field and force a throw, and it was dropped. And good stance by the Peters defense, forcing penalties again and capitalizing on it.
Troy Holness will go back in punt formation. At least he's listed as the punter. And instead, they will send back John Minardi, number 24. There's two punters listed, Minardi and Holness, back deep, standing at the Peters 50 or 49-yard line and the 47. Josh Casilli and Liam McCall. It's blocked in the play by Maloney, recovered by Peters Township. Donovan McMillan pounces on the blocked punt by Gabe Maloney, who came in untouched, and Peters with fantastic field positioning.
Yeah, that one was just picture perfect. As Minari waited for the ball, holds it low, but Maloney came in completely unblocked, got the hands on it, and then Donovan McMillan with the awareness to just fall on it, don't worry about picking it up, and give your team great field position inside the 20-yard line.
Seems as if West Toronto Prep just didn't even know he was on the outside. Either someone missed a block or he just went completely unaccounted for.
One of the two, and it works in the favor of Peters Township. Maybe that's something they work on. Maybe that was some of the film they saw.
1st and 10 from the West Toronto Prep 14. Screen pass going to Gabe Maloney. Wide open avenue into the end zone. A 14-yard touchdown reception for Gabe Maloney. His first career touchdown.
Yeah, a perfect little bubble screen. That's what you'll see in these spread offenses. Nice grab by Maloney. Able to get some key blocks. Fights off one defender and kind of trots his way into the end zone to get the early lead for Peters.
It's been all Peters Township from the word go. As now coming on for the extra point is Brusilowicz. The holder is Gabe Maloney. The long snapper, Grant Nelson, who's a 3-star long snapper, despite having a high snap in the first extra point attempt. Snap this time is good. Hold by Maloney is true. And so is the extra point. Peters Township extends its lead 15-0 with 5 minutes 34 seconds remaining in quarter number 1. You're listening to exclusive coverage of the 2018 WPIAL high school football season on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveSYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Coming up at the half, it's the TribLive High School Sports Network halftime show. This week, Don Rebel is joined by the Trib's Chris Harlan as they analyze the number for Week 0 and discuss a big year for some big-name football coaches around the WPIAL. And now we have a 15-0 advantage for Peters Township to begin the season in this Week 0 Western PA versus Everyone showcase. Brusilowicz kick fielded by Ambers make that Sabawa as he steps out of bounds at the 10-yard line. That kick was caught very close to the out-of-bounds marker out on the far sideline. He must have just tiptoed down that end zone at the 10, or down at the sideline, rather.
Yeah, he caught it right inside the 10-yard line. That should have been a ball you want to let go, actually, and take the penalty and give yourself some great fielding position. But that's just knowledge of the game, and, that's what these coaches are trying to teach to West Toronto Prep and their players. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out in the favor. Now, still deep in its own spot is West Toronto Prep, looking to get anything past the 30-yard line.
They have not been able to do so yet. West Toronto Prep has run 5 offensive plays, -6 yards, including a safety on the second official play of the game. 1st and 10, West Toronto Prep at its own 10. Again, Ethan Payne is your quarterback, the sophomore. In the shotgun, dotting the I, is Justin Fawcett. Payne looks over the middle, the pass over the head of everybody. He was looking for King Ambers down the middle, nearly intercepted by a couple of Indians. Getting in on that play, Michael Payton and Ryan Majewski.
Payne showing off the arm here, a little crossing route, but just a little too high out of the fingertips of Ambers. But it was a good thing it was out of his reach, because you want to throw it where only your guy can get, because if he throws that short or he throws it just in perfect spot, it's probably going to get picked off by a Peters Township defender.
But credit to Payne, that was about the only place he could put it, considering it was double coverage, both guys leaping at the same time. Ambers just couldn't come down with it. It was just too tall for him. 2nd down and 10 for West Toronto Prep. In its 2nd year of existence in the ranks of high school football. Payne drops back at the goal line and the screen pass tips off of the fingertips of his running back. That's Justin Fawcett again, and it'll be a 3rd and 10 following 2 straight incompletions.
Yeah, slips out right behind the lineman, just a little bit too high, couldn't come. It was a little bit behind him as well, and harmlessly falls to the ground, and it'll set up a 3rd and 10 now for West Toronto Prep.
Missed the same spot that he missed on that medium pass down the middle. It was too high for his receiver. Payne has a tendency, it seems, to go a little high. The good news there is that Peters Township defenders probably won't get to it. The bad news is now they're getting his own receivers. 3rd and 10 from the 10. Payne rolls to his left, getting chased by O'Connell and dumps it off. Pass. Is it intercepted? No, it's not. He was out of bounds. Adrian Williams almost with a great interception on the sideline. And 3 straight incompletions lead to a 3 and out.
I don't know officially where Payne was going to be able to go with that one. Briones was the only wide receiver really in the area that was going to be able to catch the ball, throws it past him, and Williams almost comes up with the pick. It slips through his hands as he falls out of bounds. But another punt forced by this Peters Township defense, showing why they were so good last year in 6A and then how they're going to excel probably again this year as it looks right now in 5A.
Watch Maloney on the edge. He blocked the punt earlier. Goes unaccounted for again, but this time Jonathan Menery able to get the punt away. McCall bobbles the punt return. Still loose on the ground, and McCall able to scoop up the loose ball, fighting it away from Harnor Dollywall, number 21 for West Toronto Prep. And Peters Township has a 1st and 10, 40 yards away from its 3rd touchdown.
Yeah, that one was a little dicey there, but McCall didn't officially commit to the play until about a half second before, and then by then the ball was too low, and Dollywall almost got a chance on it, but McCall able to stick out that right hand, pull it back in, and set up a 1st and 10 from the 40 for Peters Township.
Now it's Logan Pfeiffer in its shotgun, the new quarterback as a sophomore, or Mojo Pfeiffer, depending on who you talk to. And he throws the screen pass complete to Josh Casilli. Has some blockers, now turns up left side. And he's ganged up by 3 West Toronto Prep players. He's hit very hard by Troy Holness and Ryan Butler as he turns to the ground at the 37-yard line. It's a 3-yard gain.
And so far, 3 completed passes, 3 screens for Pfeiffer, trying to get him comfortable to use that speed that they have in that spread option. And we'll have to wait and see. We've seen it, and here's the first example of that spread coming to life.
Peters Township was running a read option during warm-ups earlier tonight. Could see a lot of that with Josh Casilli, who's obviously a threat with the ball no matter what. Casilli hauls it in, gets a block from Majewski. He's got 1st down yardage, trundles his way down to the 25-yard line, picks up the 1st down as he's brought down from behind by King Ambers.
Yeah, it started with a high snap, bobbled, ran into Majewski, but able to bounce off a couple tackles, make a couple man miss, and fight his way inside the 25-yard line down to the 24.
And Casilli again goes into the Wildcat formation. We could see a lot of that from this Peters Township offense this year. Face to Majewski. Casilli breaks a tackle to the 10. He's at the 5, turns the corner, dives, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Peters Township.
The perfect example of the read option and how it's supposed to be run right there, accomplished by Josh Casilli. Fakes the handoff, pulls it in, back in, makes a couple man miss, and able to dive into the end zone. He read the defense, what you're supposed to do. Majewski would have been tackled. Casilli saw the hole on the left-hand side, went for it, and got the touchdown.
Josh Casilli, his 2nd rush of the season, of the young season, is good for a 24-yard score, as the extra point from Bruzowicz is good out of the hold of Maloney and the snap of Grant Nelson. 22-0. Peters Township leads West Toronto Prep with 3 minutes 48 seconds to go in quarter number 1. You're listening to the 2018 WPIAL high school football season on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Carries a full line of brand new furniture at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries Ashley, Liberty, Vaughn Bassett, and Best Home Furniture, and many more. You can special order your furniture at discount pricing. While you're there, shop the many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, lawn and garden, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road on Route 380 in Murraysville. Open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big.
Some of the top athletes in the WPIAL are featured every week on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Log on to our website, that's tribhssn.triblive.com, and check out which athletes we're talking to. And we could be talking to Mr. Josh Casilli in the near future, given the accolades he's already garnered in his first couple of seasons. Showing off the Jets on that 24-yard touchdown run as Bruzewicz kicks it off. It's a low one. Goes pretty far at the 5-yard line. Fielded by Ambers. Ambers cuts through the defense, runs over a tackler, but loses the ball. And Bruzewicz pounces on it, and it's Peters Township football. Ambers getting a little too careless with the football as he was running over tacklers, and a late flag comes out.
Yeah, Ambers coming in, had a great run there. And he was able to fight off a tackler, but as he was getting tripped up from behind, the ball comes loose, and Bruzewicz was able to recover the football and get a good field position, and then an unsportsmanlike penalty against West Toronto Prep, and it'll set up even better for Peters Township.
5 penalties already on West Toronto Prep for 30 yards. Peters Township has yet to get called for a penalty, and the Indians just pouring it on early. They have the ball at the 17-yard line. And if you're Peters Township, this is a good start for your season. Just trying to see what you can do. You've shown that you can take it to a team like West Toronto Prep, because Peters Township's schedule does not get any easier, to say the least. You open up with Week 1 at Upper St. Clair, then you host Woodland Hills in Week 2, go to West Allegheny. That's 3 conference games where those 3 teams could easily compete for a conference championship.
Yeah, and that's why 5A is so interesting this year. As you look at all the conferences, all of them are like that this year in 5A.
Adrian Williams takes the draw handoff, moves his way down to the left sideline. He dives. Is he in? No, he's out of bounds at the 2. A nifty run there by Adrian Williams. Just steps out of bounds before he crosses the pylon. But Peters Township looking to punch it in, already up by 3 scores.
A nice little handoff on the inside, bounces it out, got a nice block by his wide receiver, and tries to make the push towards the end zone, but just toes out of bounds at the 2-yard line. But a simple setup and first down for Peters.
Adrian Williams dots the I. Look for him to get the ball in this short yardage situation. Pfeiffer gives to Williams, right tackle, goes in standing up. Touchdown, Peters Township. Great blocking by the right side of that offensive line. Grant Nelson a guard, Rob Corrado a tackle, opening up a huge lane. Don't forget Corbin Hondrew, the fullback, flanked out to the right side, opening up a wide open avenue for Mr. Williams.
Well, a man who recovered a fumble earlier, Donovan McMillan, he caused a fumble on the kickoff return, set up Peters easily. 2 runs, touchdown.
And the kick from Bruzewicz is up, and it's good. Peters Township pouring it on early, 29-0. It leads West Toronto Prep with 3:24 to go in the first quarter. 2 scores within 22 seconds of each other, and we'll keep it here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. We're looking at Peters Township, and specifically the Allegheny 8 Conference. Peters Township dropping from Class 6A to 5A. This Allegheny 8 conference, at least in my opinion, it's the most wide-open conference out of any in the WPIAL, regardless of classification. You got 4 or 5 teams that I've seen in different polls that are number 1 in the conference in the preseason poll. Peters Township was listed as the number 1 team for TribLive High School Sports Network. They're the number 3 team in the Class 5A top 5. I've seen polls with Woodland Hills at number 1. I've seen polls with Bethel Park at number 1, just to name a couple. So this conference, to say it's wide open is an understatement.
Yeah, and you also throw in West Allegheny's there, Upper St. Clair as well. Moon, Chartiers Valley, they're going to give fights as well, and also with Baldwin. So it's an interesting dynamic in the Allegheny 8 conference.
Brunswick's will kick off again. This time down the middle of the field. Amber's the lone man, catches it on the run at the 7-yard line. Amber's fumbled his first time around, or his last time, I should say, and he's wrapped up at the knees by the up man for Peters Township. Making the tackle was Ethan Traumoller.
And you saw there Seth Luxick also went for that ball, trying to strip it loose and trying to cause another fumble. And we've seen 2 already. 3 really by West Toronto Prep. 2 they've recovered themselves, but 1 fell in the hands of Peters Township.
Correction, that was Braylon Carrington, the sophomore, getting in on the stop for the Indians, making the initial tackle. But nonetheless, West Toronto Prep gets the ball again at the 22-yard line in its own territory. We're still at the 3-minute mark of quarter number 1, and West Toronto Prep is down by 29 points. Payne drops back, escapes O'Connell, throws over the middle, pass too high, and nearly picked off by Majewski. He bumped into the wide receiver on the play to set up a 2nd and 10. That was Jason Briones, who was the intended target.
And not the best idea by Payne to try to throw it back over the middle, as Majewski was right there covering Briones tight. King Ambers was all the way down the field on the far hash. He was outrunning his defender. So potentially kind of just chucking and letting it go might be the only move they can go, because these short passes currently are not working for West Toronto Prep.
Payne again in the shotgun. He looks towards the middle, caught by the receiver Briones. That's the first down for West Toronto Prep, as he gets in front of the Peters Township secondary. Majewski able to stop him at the 35, but West Toronto Prep able to move the ball there.
And that's also the first completed pass in 5 attempts for Ethan Payne. He completed his first pass for 5 yards and then went 5 incomplete and finally made a 12-yard completion there to Briones. A nice pass right over the middle. Nice grab by Briones to concentration. Pick up the first down.
1st and 10 for West Toronto Prep. Ball spotted at its own 35-yard line. Now the goal is to get into Peters Township territory. Payne in the shotgun. Sophomore quarterback. 3-step drop. And throws a fade down the left side of the field and overshoots everybody. He was looking for Akeem Miller and double covered by Ryan Majewski and Adrian Williams.
But that's what you're supposed to do. Throw it out of the reach of everybody, even if it's out of your reach of your wide receiver. Great defense there. Over top help by Williams. Majewski staying in stride with the wide receiver, Miller, and causing a ball to fall harmlessly to the turf.
So West Toronto Prep still trailing by 29 points with 2:25 to go in the first quarter. Peters Township dropping down from Class 6A to Class 5A. Man in motion, that's Briones. Payne in the shotgun. And he gives it to Benjamin, his first carry of the game, but he goes nowhere. Seth Luxick with the spinning tackle at the 34-yard line. That's a loss of 1 to make it 3rd and 11.
Luxick looked like he was shot out of a cannon here, coming off the right edge. Shadows Briones, steps in, waits for the hole to open, and explodes for the tackle, wrapping him down for a loss of 1. Luxick already coming up big in the beginning of the game with a safety, and able to come up here with a nice tackle for a 1-yard loss.
Luxick had a broken hand last season and missed the majority of last year, but he's made a tremendous impact in the first game of the season for Peters Township. look for him to be a factor as the season goes on. Payne over the middle, pass is tipped and nearly intercepted by Majewski. And if he didn't come in so hard, he probably would have had the pick, but as it stands, West Toronto Prep will punt.
Yeah, but came in initially, broke it up as this pass goes right over. You see in the slot as Briones just comes across the middle, right around the 47-yard line. And Majewski comes up, lays his shoulder in, knocks the arm away from Briones. Ball falls, almost lands on the chest of Majewski for the interception, but instead carelessly falls to the turf, and another 4 and out for West Toronto Prep.
Jonathan Menery stands at his own 21. The return man, Aiden McCall and Josh Casilli, are at their own 36, but a pre-snap penalty.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense at the 5-yard penalty. Time remains the same as 4th down.
The 6th penalty on West Toronto Prep for 35 yards, and we haven't even made it out of the first quarter.
Well, the false starts. It's been the story so far for West Toronto Prep, whether West Toronto Prep was inside its own 5-yard line or 8 out of the 35-yard line. Still taking those penalties.
Menery gets the punt away. It's a boomer. Caught by McCall at the 34-yard line. Fakes to Casilli. Tries to fool the West Toronto Prep kick coverage. He's going down the sideline. He's at the 30, the 20. Has got blockers in front of him. And McCall dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Peters Township.
Every blocker found a man on the return and was able to set open that wide open field on the far side for McCall, and he was able to just carelessly makes one man miss, and then from there, off to the races. Got blockers in front of him. Gabe Maloney was leading the charge down the field, taking out the last man right there. McCall, nice little hurdle into the end zone for the touchdown.
After the play, we have a touchdown. After the play, sideline interference against the red. The 15 yards will be assessed on the kickoff.
The Peters Township sideline, we failed to mention, was going berserk as McCall was going down that sideline. But you got to be careful though, because if you're coming that side, your basic instinct is to back up.
Yep.
But because that play was going on, someone must have run into the ref. I wasn't paying attention to that part of the field, but that must have been what happened.
Well, and the thing is, once McCall got past him at the 25-yard line, someone might have just stepped out to watch the end of the play, to watch him jump in and hurdle into the end zone. And unfortunately, you see the sidelines a little narrow here, so we'll catch the replay one more time, see if we see anybody step out on the field. Not yet. We got a couple players coming onto the white. They're supposed to stay behind the white part of the out of boundaries, but no one right now. But it was probably after, when he starts getting past this point of the 30 to the 25. You see one coach out there farther out.
Breslowic's extra point is up and true to make the score 36-0 in favor of Peters Township. We're still in the first quarter, 1:21 to go until we change to the second quarter. You're listening to exclusive coverage of the 2018 WPIAL football season on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Make Chick-fil-A Robinson your destination for a fast and tasty breakfast. Chick-fil-A Robinson offers a variety of breakfast sandwiches, including sausage, bacon, or, of course, chicken. Breakfast is served hot and fresh daily, featuring our handmade biscuits. Need to feed a crowd or a tailgate on Sunday? Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering has got you covered with hot or reheatable chicken trays. Visit our catering website at www.cfarobinsoncaters.com to book your business or social event today. Chick-fil-A Robinson Catering. We deliver.
Don't forget to tune in for This Week in the WPIAL every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Join us as we visit with some of the top WPIAL coaches, plus we recap Week 0 and preview Week 1 of the WPIAL regular season. Peters Township has dominated this game from beginning to now. 36-0. We're not even in the second quarter yet. And here's the scary part. The running clock doesn't go into effect until the second half.
Yeah, that's the fun part of this. We'll have to wait and see. But hopefully the game tonight will be a little bit different in the second game of this showcase.
Breslowic's kick, fielded at the 21-yard line by King Ambers. He cuts to the middle of the field. has some wide open greenery, gets away from a couple of tacklers, still finding his way forward. Some tough earned yardage, and a late flag comes in as he was tackled by Ryan Clark. The dual sport athlete also plays baseball, who lost to Pine Richland in the first round of the WPIAL playoffs. Here's the call from our refereeing crew. 7 penalties for 45 yards already on West Toronto Prep, and we haven't even gotten to 11 minutes remaining, or 11-minute mark of the first quarter. So West Toronto Prep, instead of starting near midfield, will get marched back to the 32-yard line after the holding call. And West Toronto Prep at this point just has to find something, whereas Peters Township looking to keep the foot on the pedal. Man in motion from left to right, Briones. Payne drops back. The corner's crashing. Ball is loose. Strip sacked by Ian Choudhury, and it's picked up by one of the offensive linemen, Samson Medeiros.
Yes, Choudhury was right there. He was able to fight off from going from the far inside, able to come around wrap, and Payne looked like he was trying to get it off. At that point, just tuck it and hold on to it. Could have fell into the hands of Peters Township, but instead one of his linemen was able to pick it up.
Ian Choudhury, who Coach Plack raved about whenever I talked to him on Wednesday. He's one of those linemen that he says just does everything right. He may be undersized, 5'10", 230 pounds, but he's a guy that makes very little mental mistakes and really gets after it in the weight room and on the field. 2nd down and 14. The handoff goes to Benjamin, and Benjamin again can't go anywhere. And Choudhury again gets in on the stop, assisted by Shane O'Connell and Corbin Hondrew. And West Toronto Prep goes backwards again. It's 3rd and make that 15.
And that'll be the end of the first. But this Peters Township defense showing what it did last year and keeping it up this year, getting pressure into the backfield, making sure they're getting the wraparound and bringing the running back or quarterback down to the field.
At the end of the first quarter, Peters Township has dominated the first quarter 36-0. It leads West Toronto Prep on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
If you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up.
And also check out the new Rebel Yell podcast featuring our very own Mr. Don Rebel as he talks WPIAL football every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Also go to #AskDon with all of your questions as Don has the answers, accurate or not, during every Friday show. And don't forget, he's got Twitter now.
Oh, that's right. He is on Twitter.
He's no longer Twitterless Don. As West Toronto Prep beginning the second quarter, trying to get something offensively going, just anything to get out of this side of the field. 3rd and 15. Payne drops back, now flushed out. He's got all sorts of room, scrambling to the left, tripped up by Luxick, but Payne able to fall forward, picking up some good yardage, but still halfway to the first down marker. It's going to bring up a 4th down.
Yeah, nice run on the outside corner there, trying to pick up anything he can to get positive yards. It seems like it's been a while for West Toronto Prep to get those yards, but a nice little 4-yard gain. And unfortunately, though, it brings out the punt team once again.
Medeiros back out with Adrian Williams coming out, replacing Aiden McCall, who had a 66-yard punt return touchdown. Casilli flanks to his left. They're standing at the 38-yard line. Snap over Menery's head. He picks it up. He is able to get it off, and we're going to get a roughing the punter call as Williams bobbles the punt, and it's recovered by Michael Rochon of West Toronto Prep. The flag down at the 7-yard line. Lucas Cullen ran into the punter Menery as he let go of the punt.
Nice job by Menery to kind of a rugby punt style on the run, able to get it off. And then a bad bobble as it falls harmlessly if it just falls to the turf. And Rochon's just sitting there waiting for it and falls on it and picks it up. And it'll be a 1st and 10 for West Toronto Prep, at least at the 45-yard line.
So now you got positive yardage for West Toronto Prep, even if it is by a penalty.
Roughing the kicker against the red. If there's a fumble recovery by the kicking team, that penalty is declined. That makes it a zone of play. First down.
And it was a personal foul roughing the kicker, so either way it would have been a first down for West Toronto Prep.
It was just a bonus that he got it.
Yeah, it was just now a bonus that they got the fumble, and now probably better field position than what they had of after the penalty, or maybe right about the same as the ball was on the 30-yard line. So it would have been right at the 45.
In terms of confidence, this could really be the start of something at least for West Toronto Prep, and we got a new quarterback in. That's Wesley Shemanga stepping in for Ethan Payne. And Shemanga drops back. 3-step drop, now flushes to his left. Shemanga's got some wheels. He's showing them off, and he picks up the first down inside Peters territory for the first time tonight, out of bounds at the 44.
Yeah, Shemanga there just takes a snap right off and then looks, doesn't see anything downfield. Whole left side of the field, is open, goes for it. Nice 12-yard pickup.
And Shemanga, one of those players I mentioned in the pregame that originates from Ottawa, comes all the way down to Toronto, a 5-hour drive to play with West Toronto Prep, which is located just about 20 minutes north of Toronto, Ontario, at least downtown.
And you think about 5-hour drive there to meet the team, and then probably got on the flight yesterday to fly 2 hours to Pittsburgh. So overall, seven hours for Shemanga in one way already on his trip.
I do not envy that. I can tell you that much. 1st and 10 from the 44. The give to Benjamin, and Benjamin is hit hard by Josh Casilli down at the 43-yard line to make it 2nd down and 9. Casilli with a textbook tackle, able to stop him in his tracks.
Yeah, Casilli able to lower the shoulder and bring down Benjamin. It looked like initially it was going to potentially be a read option between Shemanga and Benjamin, but hands it off and picked up 1 yard. But you're starting to see some of the offense come together for this West Toronto Prep. You know, they only played 4 games last year. This is the first year with a whole loaded schedule, and have to see how they perform.
2nd and 9 for West Toronto Prep. Man goes in motion. Briones from right to left. Shemanga will throw the screen complete to Briones, and he's hit hard by Corbin Hondrew, the big sophomore linebacker, hammering him at the 41-yard line. Hondrew, just a sophomore, even though he's so young, he calls all the plays defensively at linebacker for Peters Township. That's pretty impressive, to say the least.
Well, if you look back, going from last year to this year, he's one of the top returning tacklers for this team. And as a sophomore, you show that leadership and you show that ability. Coach is going to grant you that capability.
Rivals has him ranked as the number 1 linebacker in the WPIAL in the class of 2021 and the number 4 recruit in that class. 3rd down and 7 from the 41-yard line of Peters Township. Shemanga drops back, throws over the middle, pass tipped, and intercepted by Josh Casilli. He stepped in front of the intended receiver, Casilli, able to step away from some West Toronto defenders and gets down to the 33-yard line. Another turnover for West Toronto Prep, and Peters Township gets yet another crack at the ball on offense.
And that really started with Corbin Hondrew stepping up over the middle with Majewski, and then it fell as it was tipped by Majewski into the hands of Casilli, and he was able to make a play, make a second big play of the game, you would say, after his touchdown run and what was the read option. And now another 1st and 10 set up in good field position for Peters Township.
And it was tipped around a couple of times by Majewski, falling into the breadbasket of Casilli. And here Casilli is flanked out as the running back. Or correction, that's Majewski in at running back. Pfeiffer takes the high snap, throws the medium route to Gabe Maloney. It skips off the turf, incomplete, to bring up 2nd down and 10. That was Pfeiffer's first bad throw, I guess you could say, and still even then, Peters Township still leads by 36 points.
I mean, really, it's only his 4th throw of the game if you go back through it, and we played a whole quarter. It was the perfect play as Maloney was able to cut in behind a defender in front of his, but just a short throw that would have gained a 1st down if it hit him, Maloney, right in the chest.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Pfeiffer drops back, rolls to his right, throws behind him, and again falls incomplete. Aiden McCall was the intended receiver. He had to dive back to try and corral it, but slipped, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, this one, pressure coming from the near side, forcing Pfeiffer to roll out to his right and really didn't step into the throw, and that's why it ended up short on Aiden McCall.
3rd and 10 with Peters up 36-0. 9:31 remaining in the 2nd quarter. Pfeiffer with the snap, throws near side. It's incomplete as the Woodland Hills siren, I would say, goes off. Pass over the head of Aiden McCall. That siren from the Wolvarena, it's something. I'll tell you that much. I was here a couple of years ago. My brother plays for West Allegheny. Came here his freshman year, and the only thing I remember was I hate that siren. But Brusilowicz is in for his first reps as the punter. West Toronto Prep with a Chinese fire drill, essentially getting guys on and off the field. Kick it bounces at the 40-yard line. It's taken by Ryan Butler on the bounce, and he gets out of bounds on the far sideline at the 46-yard line. And West Toronto Prep goes back on offense, trying to get something going offensively.
Well, last possession was their best offensive possession so far, and they made that quarterback change, putting in Sheminga instead of Payne. Payne on the sideline talking with one of the coaches, but Sheminga able to read the defense, seems like just a little bit better than Payne has to, and been able to make that quick decision. The interception, however, was just a better play by the defense of Peters Township.
Peters Township, one of several teams in the WPIAL with a Week 0 game. 99 out of the 120 teams are playing Week 0 games. And 2 of those teams that are not playing are in the Allegheny 8, those being West Allegheny and Bethel Park. West Allegheny scrimmaging Trinity, while Bethel Park also having a scrimmage as well. And I only know they're scrimmaging Trinity because my brother's playing. 1st and 10 from the 46, and we got movement again along the offensive line. It's going to go against... It goes against the left guard, Kieran Mari Bradshaw. He's only 6 foot but weighs 315 pounds. There's 3 linemen on this offensive line for West Toronto Prep, over 300 pounds.
And the other 2 are within 25 pounds of 300.
The smallest one in terms of weight is the left tackle, Omari Hastings. He's only 272. A slim 272.
Yeah, a slim 272.
1st and 10, or 1st and 15 rather, and West Toronto Prep's going to go backwards again. Now this time it was Antoine Geddes who replaced Kieran Mahari Bradshaw. And West Toronto Prep continues to shoot itself in the foot. 1st down now and 20 from its own 36-yard line.
Yeah, just simple. The defense is adjusting to the motion of West Toronto Prep, and Geddes looks like he's set, and then he resets again, and you can't do that. That's what draws the false start.
1st down and long. Sheminga rolls out, escapes Clark, bounces off of Hondrew, fights his way back to the original line of scrimmage. He's undercut by Josh Casilli, and we got flags behind the play. Sheminga a bit banged up after he was hit hard by a couple of tacklers that he bounced off of like a pinball. It's one of those rules now implemented to protect the player's safety.
Yeah, Michael Payton, the linebacker, was the one who made that helmet-to-helmet contact. As we'll catch it again here. Shaminga rolling to the near side, cuts back in. It was Hondrew who leaned in. Both lowered their head, but Hondrew leading kind of almost with the crown and draws the 15-yard penalty. And now we'll see Payne back out there.
Shaminga a bit busted up. He remains on the sideline. Ethan Payne, as RJ mentioned, back out on the field. West Toronto Prep in Peters territory for the second time tonight, trailing 36-0. The handoff on the play is given to Jacob Benjamin, running to the left side, and he's tackled by Shane O'Connell. Another second-team all-conference D-tackle for the Indians. Correction, that was John Labemba running for West Toronto Prep. It's a loss of 3 to make it 2nd and 13.
Taking this one, there was a little option left, and safety, the cornerback, was able to stay home on that tackle for a 3-yard loss. It looked to be Williams coming up on that tackle there.
So now it's 2nd down and 13 from the Peters Township 42. And a low snap corralled, given on the jet sweep to Briones, and Briones tackled hard out of bounds on the far sideline by Ryan Majewski. He stands up and appreciates what Peters Township faithful is giving him right now. And another loss on the play of 5, 3rd and long.
Yeah, a bad snap. It comes in short, in man in motion, a little jet sweep. They do get it off, but they go to the short side, and Majewski comes out of the safety position, comes up, lays the boomstick down, and drops him for a loss.
Majewski's a really tough football player, both on defense, as we just saw. On offense, he's a bull, as I would like to say. He just runs over people. He's that kind of guy that brings his lunch to work, if you know what I mean, and just chops away at the defense. 3rd and long, and we've got flags again, movement along the left side of the offensive line. So we got a penalty that's on Peters Township the first time tonight. Seth Luxick, the blitzing linebacker, trying to get West Toronto Prep to jump, but instead gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah, and West Toronto Prep, Ethan Payne was trying to get a free play there, but when it's encroachment, the play is blown dead in high school and reset after the 5-yard penalty.
3rd and 12. Payne back to pass. Hit hard, escapes, loses the ball. Recovered by West Toronto Prep. Big hit there by Seth Luxick. And West Toronto Prep loses 5 yards. It'll be 4th down, but the good news is you didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah, but you're going to give it right back on the punt, though, as Luxick comes out on the far outside, just comes through untouched and lays a big hit, knocks the ball loose as he wraps his arm around to knock that throwing hand of Ethan Payne, and the ball was able to be recovered by one of the offensive linemen. But when Peters Township needed a big stop or a big defensive play, it seems like Seth Luxick has been right there to provide it, the 5'9", 180-pound senior.
Menery back to pump. Josh Casilli backing up to his 10. No pressure as Menery kicks it. And it'll roll out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Good punt there by Jonathan Menery, giving Peters Township its worst starting field position tonight. And the Indians trying to extend their lead, 36-0, with 5:44 to play in the second quarter. Remember, mercy rule clock will not go into effect until the second half. All 36 points scored in half number 1. Seth Luxick getting the scoring started with a safety. Just a minute and 38 seconds into the game, Ryan Majewski would have a 3-yard touchdown run. Logan Pfeiffer, throwing to Gabe Maloney for a 14-yard strike. Josh Casilli, a 24-yard run out of the Wildcat. Adrian Williams would go 2 yards for the touchdown. And Liam McCall, make that Aiden McCall, Liam is his brother, taking a punt back 66 yards for a touchdown. So 6 different players for Peters Township all chipping in on the scoring. Luxick in the shotgun with Hondru in motion as the flanker. The handoff to Adrian Williams. Williams using his elusiveness to fall forward to the 18-yard line. That's another first down for the Indians.
Yeah, nice run there off the right side. Able to bounce it back in, kick it in. Just finds a hole, makes one man miss, fights through a couple tackles, and picks up the first down.
Also right in front of the Cathedral Prep Ramblers, who are sitting in the section closest to the concession stand. You can see them on the right side of your screen. They'll take on Central Catholic in the second of our doubleheader tonight. We got a banged up West Toronto Prep player down at the 25-yard line. That is Michael Rochon. That'd be a big loss if Rochon would have to step out for an injury. But the game's on tap for the Western PA versus Everyone Showcase. Following the conclusion of this game, we got Pittsburgh Central Catholic taking on Erie Cathedral Prep. The state champions in Class 4A, led by Brian Lucas, taking on Brian Dallas. Lenny Fratteri and Bob Orcus will be on the call for that. Tomorrow, Amani Christian takes on Richard Wright Charter with Don Rebel and Micah Zadian on the call. At 2 o'clock, McKeesport will take on the Erie Royals, also in their second season. Had a very successful year, as a matter of fact. And then at 5 o'clock, Aliquippa takes on McKinley Tech. Matt Vandrak and Justin McCauley will be on the call for that game. And the cap for this showcase, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, Woodland Hills versus Woodrow Wilson. No, not the president. With Paul Patera and Lou Root on the call for that one.
Yeah, full slate of football. Some high-profile schools coming into the area, some even from an hour and a half north.
1st and 10 from the 18. We got flags before the snap. And speaking of those high-profile games, we didn't mention probably the biggest game not going on here. Pine Richland and IMG Academy. IMG, all of its starters have Division I looks. Mm-hmm. They have the number 2 recruit in the country, the number 1 running back in the country, number 1 defensive end, number 1 offensive tackle. I'm going to go on a limb and say the number 1 water boy.
No, I think he's still at Clemson.
Pass complete to the right side to Adrian Williams. Fights his way back to the 25-yard line, picking up lost yardage, but another flag is thrown behind the play. But I'll have to agree with you, RJ. I unaccounted for him. So Peters Township starting to make some mental errors. That's the 3rd penalty on Peters Township in the quarter alone.
And another game tonight going on. Erie McDowell taking on Seneca Valley. That's another, big matchup. Erie McDowell, a team consistently coming from up north and being in the state championships.
They used to be in the WPIAL in the James Conner days.
Yes.
And that's going to be a good matchup. Jerome Henderson, Toledo recruit on the defensive end, going up against a pretty big and pretty good Seneca Valley offensive line. I saw them during a scrimmage, and their line is pretty big. And Peters scrimmaged them last week and held them pretty good. So 1st and long, Luxick standing in the shadow of his end zone. Adrian Williams barely gets out of the end zone as he's tackled by defensive end Josh Grant at 6'6", making the stop. Probably the best defensive play of the day for West Toronto Prep. It's 2nd down and very long.
Yeah, West Toronto Prep, just good defensive stand there. Initially coming off, as Geddes was the one who able to get in the backfield and kind of make the initial push and create some confusion and get the tackle.
2nd down, 25 to go. Ball at the 3. This time it's Williams again. Gets Peters Township some breathing room. Tackled over the neck as he crosses the 10. He was tackled there by Ryan Butler. The free safety coming up, able to stop him there. Peters Township now makes it a 3rd and more manageable 15 from the 13-yard line. Peters Township on top, 36-0. Was on fire in the first quarter, but have calmed the Jets down in the second.
Yeah, trying different plays, trying some different looks, and West Toronto Prep has also gotten a little bit more confidence here and there and getting some stops, and some mental errors also by Peters is hurting them so far.
Pfeiffer in the shotgun. 5-step drop. Throws the screen pass. It's batted into the air. Intercepted. No, it's not. It by Josh Grant. Nearly had it. It was tipped up by the nose tackle Antoine Geddes, and Josh Grant nearly had the interception, but it was jarred loose by the turf.
Yeah, Geddes just sticks out, as you'll see here, looking for a simple little screen pass to Williams, and Geddes just comes over, sticks the hand out, pops straight up into the air.
It was like he was playing volleyball, just volleyed it up to his teammates.
And unfortunately, as you said, couldn't hold it. It came down to the turf. Would have been an incredible play, but forces another punt, this time deep in field territory.
Breslin Lakes from the goal line punts it away. It's a pretty good punt. Takes a very good Peters roll. It bounces off the face mask of the return man. And it's picked up there by West Toronto Prep. And it'll set up a 1st and 10 for West Toronto Prep. That was Kevin Sabawa who had that ball ricocheted off of his helmet. 1st and 10 from the midfield stripe on the left hash. Make that the near hash of George Novak Field at the Wolvarena.
And that last pass, by Pfeiffer, it's his 4th consecutive incomplete pass so far. Now 3 for 7 on the evening. And you've seen this defense stall out a little bit and kind of looking on the field, just looking down to the defense of Peters Township. Majewski kind of got a little gimp in his, he got a little hitch in his giddy up there as he's trying to like hobble around on the near hash side. You see him going to the 40 right now, kind of looking a little worse for wear.
And there will be a timeout called in the field by West Toronto Prep. We'll step aside as well. You're listening to exclusive coverage of the 2018 WPIAL football season, and it's all here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Log on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the latest high school football news during This Week in the WPIAL, only here on the new TribLive High School Sports Network. Join Don Rebel and other members of the TribLive High School Sports Network team as it visits with WPIAL football coaches, plus they run down the upcoming schedule and preview the weekend's top high school football games. That's This Week in the WPIAL, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. this fall, only on the new TribLive High School Sports Network.
The opening game of the 2018 high school football season around the western Pennsylvania region is a blowout thus far for Peters Township, 36-0, but the good news for West Toronto Prep, no scoring in the second quarter, but a flag is thrown. Well,
just snuck it in there before the flag of too many men for a timeout.
Second-year program, West Toronto Prep, having some of those gaffes that a new program may have every once in a while. This West Toronto Prep team, I didn't mean to cut you off, RJ,
no, you're fine.
But they were formed by two people in particular. O'Neal Wilson, he's the head coach, played wide receiver at UConn before being drafted by the Montreal Alouettes in the 3rd round, which is Johnny Manziel's current team.
Yep.
And also athletic director Dwayne Mundell, who played at West Virginia. We're kind of the catalyst for this West Toronto Prep team. We'll explain more after this as Shemanga comes in at quarterback. And we got another flag, and this time for false start. So it doesn't matter if they had an illegal substitution to begin with because they'll jump anyway.
Yeah, and now this one, Nico Sevis, now at left guard, being called for the false start. So they're trying anybody at left guard, but no one's able to stay in their spot, and you can continue on your point.
But as I was saying, Mundell and Wilson kind of came up with this idea for a Canadian team to play strictly American football teams because football's not that popular in Canada as a sport. And plus, there's only 29 universities that offer college football in Canada, whereas in America, there are, 300, 400 schools?
At least, I would think.
Ranging from D1, D2, D3, and JUCO.
And also NAIA.
1st and 15. Shemanga drops back, heaves one down the right side. It's over the head of everybody. Aiden McCall nearly with the pick. He covers up on Jason Briones to make it 2nd down. Correction, that was King Ambers on the intended target. But Mundell knows this area pretty well. West Virginia University, about, an hour and a half from downtown Pittsburgh. It's not far from where we were.
No, it's about an hour and 15 from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's about 20 minutes from Waynesburg,
So he is familiar somewhat with the tradition and heritage of Western Pennsylvania, and he wants to instill that in the Toronto area with these kinds of players and to give them more exposure to American football. Hondrew coming in on a blitz and gets the sack with Shane O'Connell on Wesley Shemanga. And West Toronto Prep going backwards yet again, a loss of 10. It's 3rd down and a mile.
Yeah, that one was just a perfect blitz right up off the right side. Connell coming from the left, and Shemanga just did the only thing he could do. Tuck and take the hit and go down.
2:35 remaining in the 2nd quarter. 36-0 is your score. Peters Township on top. Peters has scored 5 touchdowns and a safety, whereas West Toronto Prep has barely had any offense going. Wesley Shemanga back in at quarterback. 2 receivers to each side for West Toronto Prep. It's 3rd and long. Shemanga drops back. Escapes Clark, but can't escape the second wave of Peters Township Indians. Logan Clark and Corbin Hondrew again. Hondrew his 2nd straight sack. Clark gets his 1st defensive action. He's ranked by 24/7 Sports as a top defensive end, and he shows why there.
Yeah, Clark coming off the far side of the field right there at defensive tackle. Able to nice swim move, comes in, and then Hondrew coming in, and that's what forced Shemanga to stop and really just take the brunt of the blow, or he was going to try to outrun Logan Clark.
It's 4th down and forever as Menery bobbles the snap. He won't be able to get off the punt this time as he's brought down for a big loss by Lucas Cullen. Peters Township will have a 1st and goal from the 10 and prime opportunity to go up by more than 40 points.
Yeah, it was just another high snap and unable to palm it as Menery, and it falls, and man were right on top of him, and Vinny Sirianni, also getting in on the action. His first action of today of making a tackle there.
And no, that is not a relation to Mike Sirianni from Washington and Jefferson and Mount Union, if you want to go that far.
Yes, whose brother is also now a offensive coordinator at Los Angeles Chargers. I gotta get used to that.
I'm still getting used to it too, don't you worry. 1st and 10 from the 12. Pfeiffer throws on the slant pattern. It's broken up by King Ambers. The intended target down towards the goal line. Couldn't haul in the pass. That was Jackson McCloskey who couldn't haul it in. His mom, Pam, works at the elementary school, and his twin brothers, Clay and Cole, both started their own clothing line. Lanny would be proud if he was listening to that.
He's getting prepared for the 2nd game of tonight.
2nd and 10. Pass broken up again. Casilli going up top. Broken up by King Ambers, who just stood him up there. And it's 3rd and 10.
Yeah, King Ambers making some nice defensive plays. A little bit of high throw on Casilli, had to go up for and left his body exposed, and that led Ambers, to throw that shoulder right in the ribcage. And Casilli came up and he ready to go, but looked like he was a little winded there after that hit right into the ribcage.
I will say this. I like what they're doing with Pfeiffer. He's an inexperienced quarterback, as we know, just a sophomore. Starting him off with those screen passes, and then once Peters Township builds up a big lead, they're testing him a little bit, trying to go with the medium-range deep balls. But this time it's Ryan Majewski finding a hole, getting the corner, and into the end zone for the Peters Township touchdown.
Ryan Majewski into the end zone for a 12-yard Peters Township touchdown.
Yeah, that was just too easy. Majewski, the vision that him and Williams have is incredible. As he goes off the left side, able to find the little hole, bounce out to the near outer boundary, and goes for the near pylon. Easy 12-yard touchdown run for Majewski. probably the ECC's going to have all year is their schedule after this increasingly gets tougher.
It's brutal, and it's not like an out-of-conference game or a week off either. North Hills, who I think is a sleeper in 5A.
Yes.
And then Cannon McMillan, who can also make noise in 6A, possibly. But Brunswick's kick on the extra point attempt splits the uprights, and with 1:22 to go in the second quarter, the score is Peters Township 43, West Toronto Prep nothing. You're listening to the TribLive High School Sports Network 2018 edition.
TribLive has a little something for everyone. Sports from high school to the pros. News from across the street and around the world. Arts and entertainment. Lifestyles. Opinion. Weather. Photo galleries. Video. You can even find your next job, house, and car. So look alive, Pittsburgh, and get the news you want and information you need all in one place. TribLive.com. TribLive.com. News and more 24/7.
While we own Friday nights, follow our Trib HSSN fall sports coverage every day with soccer and volleyball broadcasts and much more. Your home for all high school sports is the TribLive High School Sports Network, especially if you're following the WPIAL. As Brunswick's set to kick off yet again. It's a high kick. The lone return man, King Ambers, takes it off the awkward bounce. Splits the kick coverage. Now rolling to the near side. Ambers at the 50. Down to the 45. Makes some moves on the kicker, Brunswick, and is gang tackled by a tribe of Indians at the 42-yard line. And West Toronto Prep with probably the best play it's gotten all day, trying to score before the half.
Yeah, nice job there by Lucas Cullen, the 5'8 sophomore, as he runs down Ambers to the near sideline. Nice stop by Brunswick, the kicker, that lets Cullen come in and make the tackle. But still, great field position for West Toronto Prep. And you know how we were talking about how the schedule for Peters Township gets harder? It gets much worse for West Toronto Prep. You're looking at Massillon Perry, probably one of the winningest programs in all of Ohio. You're talking Cardinal Mooney from Ohio, McDowell Cathedral Prep, both from the Erie area, Bishop Sullivan, and St. Francis. All great programs in all of the Tri-County, the Tri-State area, you could say.
And put it this way, St. Francis Academy has 7 players ranked higher than anybody from the state of Pennsylvania, from Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. That's ludicrous. 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line. Ethan Payne back in at quarterback. He hands the ball off to Jacob Benjamin. And Benjamin is gang tackled by the entire defensive line for Peters Township. Just a dog pile piling up just in front of the 40-yard line as West Toronto Prep trying to score before we get to halftime. We're under a minute remaining in the first half. And it does have only one timeout at its disposal.
Yeah, this one you're just going to let your players play it out, get as many snaps, and maybe try to bust off one of these big runs if you can, or a big throw. We've seen, as Ethan Payne does have an arm, watched him during warm-ups, and he was throwing some nice goal line fades, but hasn't been accurate enough to connect on him.
2nd and 9 from the 41. Payne in the shotgun again. The handoff goes to Justin Fawcett, and Fawcett runs to the near sideline and brought down by Shane O'Connell. O'Connell is small, but he's very, very strong. His max bench press, despite his size, is about 330 pounds. And considering he's 210, very impressive as we're going to take this into halftime. Peters Township taking a 43-0 lead into the half. If you're Peters Township, there's not a whole much more you can ask for out of head coach TJ Plack.
No, and you can't ask for more even out of your starting quarterback, Logan Pfeiffer, the sophomore. And he's been benefit of his experienced players, Adrian Williams, a junior, and Ryan Majewski, a junior as well. Majewski with 50 yards and a touchdown, and Williams also, 2 touchdowns for Majewski. And for Williams, he has 52 yards on 7 carries and a touchdown as well. So overall, great performance by the offense of Peters Township.
We'll step aside, we'll briefly recap, and then head over to the halftime show on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
People ask what drives me. It's the respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveSYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Back again at the Wolvarena George Novak Field. It's the site of the Western PA versus Everybody Showcase, and right now Western PA is dominating Game 1. 43-0 Peters Township leading West Toronto Prep, despite the fact West Toronto Prep is just a second-year program. And RJ is going to run down the scoring summary for, well, really just Peters Township.
Yeah, I mean, it all started with Seth Luxick with the safety at the 10:02 mark in the first, and then Majewski a 3-yard run for a touchdown about 3 minutes later, and from there it just got piled on. Pfeiffer to Maloney for 14 yards, a touchdown. Casilli, a 24-yard touchdown. Williams, 2 yards. McCall with the 66-yard punt return for a touchdown, and then Majewski capping it off in the second quarter with a 12-yard run to the near pylon. And it's been Peters Township offensively, defensively, special teams, you name it, they're winning at it, and that's why they have such a large lead here at halftime.
Yeah, and for the second half for West Toronto Prep, you know you're going to have a running clock, and Peters Township showing they're flexing their muscles right now. And you can't expect a whole lot from the starters in the second half, considering this such a big lead. And you got a rivalry game next week, so you'd have to imagine the second and third stringers are going to get some more experience tonight, but we'll see what happens later in the second half.
Yeah, and I think we're all set for Mr. Don Rebel in the halftime show.
We are. You can actually tune in right now for the halftime show. The TribLive halftime show is joined by Don Rebel and Chris Harlan. They analyze the number for Week 0 and discuss a big year for some big-name football coaches around the WPIAL. You're listening to exclusive coverage of the 2018 WPIAL football season on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Welcome to another year. 2018 high school football season here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. We welcome you to the halftime show at Trib HSSN. I'm Don Rebel. Once again, it is a pleasure to welcome my colleague here at Trib Total Media and the TribLive High School Sports Network and our expert analysis or analyst. He is Chris Harlan. Chris, welcome.
Be back. It's good to be back.
Yes, you did something right to be back, right?
I didn't have a season last year. Back for the start of this one. I'm looking forward to it.
That's how I see it. They keep welcoming me back, then I guess I'm doing something right. All right. Week zero this weekend, Friday, Saturday. This was a brand new concept 2 years ago, 2016. That's when the PIAA put it out there for individual schools that they could play either a second scrimmage or that they could play a exhibition game, non-conference game, however you want to term it. It's interesting how the pendulum has swung, Chris. We'll talk about how most teams are now playing this weekend. But 2 years ago, 61 out of 121, that's almost half, decided they were going to play this newfound exhibition game, while 60 teams said we will stick with our traditional second scrimmage.
I think the teams that were holding out, some of them started seeing the fun the other schools were having. I mean, they were putting together good matchups. They're going out, having fun, putting rivalries back together. Mm-hmm. You know, with the 6 classes that broke up a lot of those rivalries, this gave those schools a chance to get those back together. And I think you saw that because 2 years ago, you had coaches saying, hey, we need that second scrimmage for coaching. And there's still
creatures of habit.
Right, and there's still some diehards that are saying that. That's that second one. It's important. They're still installing stuff. But then you got other coaches who say, we've been doing this for months. It's not like we just showed up to the football field in August. We've been doing this all summer. So one more scrimmage to them isn't going to make a big difference.
Now, I know that schools handle things differently as far as the 2-year cycle. The WPIAL puts the regular season together in the 2-year cycle. Home and away games are set. So I guess with 61 teams deciding to play a game 2 years ago, that number didn't change much last year. However, it's changed dramatically here in 2018. 120 WPIAL football schools, 99 of them are playing exhibition games this weekend.
Yeah, and I think it's just that. You're seeing that trend growing.
Yeah.
And as more schools do it, I talked to Lucero at Montour. He's one of the guys who liked the 2 scrimmages, but he said as more and more teams took scrimmages, that's less and less teams you can schedule for scrimmages. They always played Seton LaSalle every year. Seton decided to take week 0 and play that rivalry with Keystone Oaks. So that left Montour looking. He said, you know what? We could put together a rivalry game with Moon. So let's play it. So now they're playing a real game here.
Well, and my first thought was 2 years ago when this all started was if you're going to get together with another school under the guise of scrimmage, why not open the gates, charge admission, and make a little bit of a profit?
Yeah, and I like what some of these schools are doing. Look at Pine Richland bringing in IMG Academy.
Yeah.
You got Woodland Hills scheduling 6 games at the Wolvarena. I think those are fun. I like those out-of-state games that we used to see, and they went away when the WPL started scheduling full schedules for everybody. There were those weeks that just weren't available to bring those teams in, and I like that. That week 0 gave a flexibility for those guys to go out and get them again.
Well, WPL hasn't exactly fared well in those games, especially against out-of-state games or out-of-state teams, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to take a break. When we return, we'll talk a little bit about some big moments coming up for some longtime coaches when the Week 0 edition of the Halftime Show continues on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
If you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up. 380 Discount Warehouse in Murraysville carries a full line of brand new furniture at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries Ashley, Liberty, Von Bassett, and Best Home Furniture, and many more. You can special order your furniture at discount pricing. While you're there, shop the many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, lawn and garden, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road on Route 380 in Murraysville. Open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big.
Halftime show for Week 0 continues with Chris Harlan. I'm Don Rebel. Well, we begin a new season, and it could be a historic season for a lot of great names, legendary coaches around the WPIAL. We begin first talking about Bob Pelko. He has made it clear. We're guessing at the end of 2017, would he return, would he not? He is back for 2018, but this is it for the legendary West Allegheny coach.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He's not retiring. He won't call it retirement because he still wants to do something in football. But as of next fall, he won't be coaching West Allegheny anymore, and that's a big change. He's got Kimni Adbala, who's an assistant coach. They brought him in this year. A really unique situation there that you don't see schools do. They said, we got a transition coming. We know the end's near. Let's go ahead and go get that head coach in waiting and have him spend this whole year working alongside with Bob Pelko.
We sort of discussed this. Our feeling is he might end up like as the assistant coach in the college ranks.
Yeah, I think he could do that. I could see a spot for him somewhere, or maybe scouting, doing something like that, somewhere in football.
Another legendary coach, the winningest coach in WPIAL history, 2 victories away from a monumental landmark, Jim Render of Upper St. Clair. Panthers playing South Fayette here in Week 0. And then they host Peters Township next week. He's 2 wins away from 400. That's amazing. A staggering amount.
It is. That's amazing. And I went out and saw him there a week or 2 ago, and And I brought that up to him because one of his players brought up to me and said, Coach is only 2 wins away from 400 here. And what it would mean.
What did Mr. Happy have to say about that?
Needless to say, he said, it's not important to me. I don't talk about it. I don't talk about it to the players. It's not something I talk about, he said, and he kind of chuckled that one of his players, though, thought that it was important to him, and as a team, they wanted to be the team to be able to celebrate that milestone with him.
You bring up the wins with Jim Render. He struggles a little bit remembering them. You bring up the losses, and he remembers those vividly, and he even admitted that to me a few years ago. All right, Mike Smianik, no longer at Aliquippa. Mike Warfield takes over. Mike Smianik, new coach at Ringgold.
Yeah, I saw him out there in the blue and gold. Just different looking, he was still him. He was still coaching. He was still full energy, but just not seeing him in that red and black, it looked a little odd that day. But they're thrilled to have him out there.
I'm sure. Finally, Bill Cherpak, his team and himself on the cusp of history. If they can win another district title, they'll be the third school in WPIAL history to win 4 championships. And if they win, assuming West Allegheny doesn't win in 5A, would tie Bob Pelko for most WPIAL championships.
Yeah, he joined Clarendon and Braddock as the only schools to win at least 4 in a row. Yeah, I mean, that's an amazing feat if they could do that this year. And he's a coach that he gets a lot of praise, but I don't know if people appreciate just what he's done there.
I agree. It's staggering, and if he's around as long as Coach Render, we might be talking about him going over 400 wins someday. All right, Chris, next week, week 1, we'll officially talk about teams to watch throughout the district. How's that?
Sounds good.
All right. Chris Harlan, Don Rebel, hope you enjoyed the Week 0 edition of the Halftime Show here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
We're back at the Wolvarena, George Novak Field, Western PA versus everybody. And Western PA in this game is dominating. 43-0 is your score at halftime. 36 of those points coming in the first quarter, and then followed up with a Ryan Majewski 12-yard touchdown in the second quarter to end the scoring in the first half. And this West Toronto Prep team, it's going to be a learning experience. We're expecting that coming in. Peters Township, though, it's a mix of West Toronto Prep being inexperienced and Peters Township being, pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a mix of both, and we've seen some of the mental mistakes that West Toronto Prep has committed the false starts, the block in the back early on the opening kickoff that pinned West Toronto deep and forced what will end up being a safety for the first scoring of the game. And then from there, it was the defense of Peters Township capitalizing on easy plays, shooting through the hole, getting tackles in the backfield, making contact in the backfield, even at that, and forcing scrambles and bad plays by West Toronto Prep. And we've seen some good quarterback play from West Toronto Prep, actually. Wesley Shaminga has come in and has shown some ability at the quarterback position, but he took a hard knock, had to come out for a couple plays, and since then, he really hasn't been able to do anything offensively for West Toronto Prep.
And Peters Township, too, what I'm really impressed about, they're spreading the ball around. They got 6 different players that have got in on the scoring, ranging from the safety by Seth Luxick to Ryan Majewski's 2 touchdowns. So it's not like it's just 1 or 2 guys, getting all of the notoriety and all the attention. It's everybody getting involved. Aiden McCall had a 66-yard punt return for a touchdown. Josh Casilli had a 24-yard rushing touchdown. It's just a lot of people chipping in.
Yeah, we can clip them. We'll watch them right now as they're going to get ready here and bring them back through from the opening safety to everything from the end. And you see here the scoring started with a Majewski run off the right-hand side, and then the pass to Maloney, a little bubble screen, and he's able to fight his way into the end zone from there. And then Casilli, the read option, perfect drawback from the running back's gut, and then runs to the end zone, dives for the pylon, and is able to get it. And then a simple handoff to Williams off the right side. And that's all it's been. And this is the big punt return that we saw.
This, I think, kind of killed their momentum.
Yeah, West Toronto Prep at this time was getting a little bit something going offensively, punted the ball away. McCall said, yeah, you guys got a little too much momentum. We're going to end that right now. Hurdles for the end zone, and then it was capped off by another Majewski touchdown run. So you've seen that, but the touchdowns, they've come easily for Peters Township, and maybe that's a little bit of the inexperience of West Toronto Prep, but that's also could be the experience and how aged and diverse that this offense is for Peters Township, the young, the youth, but also the senior offensive lineman making the way.
Even though they're young, they got a lot of returners.
Yes.
And you can certainly tell. There's a lot of juniors on this team that have chipped in. Yes, there are senior linemen that certainly helps out a lot. I know I'm biased towards the linemen, but when you have a line as experienced as this one coming back, only losing 1 starter, and you're replacing that with a 6'3", 285-pound left guard, what else can you do? I mean, there's not a whole lot else to improve upon if you're Peters Township.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, and earlier it looked like it was going to be David DeSayo. He was going to start at left tackle. He's unfortunately out with a lower body injury. Logan Clark, a senior, just stepped in, and it hasn't missed a step.
And he's the regular starter.
He's the regular starter, and he's been the starter on defensive end, and he's made some big plays on the defensive side. So obviously the experience is there for Peters Township, and even though, yes, some of them are youth, you got the 2 running backs, Williams and Majewski, both juniors. Casilli a junior, McCall a junior. You got your sophomore quarterback in Pfeiffer. The youth is there, but the experience is there at the same time. A great thing to have in TJ Pleck.
And Clark, it hasn't gotten a whole lot of attention from schools, but has visited a lot of schools as well. He took visits. I have listed Virginia was his latest one. He took a visit to Lafayette. And he took a visit to what I say are the big 2 in Pennsylvania, Pitt and Penn State.
Yeah. So and the thing is, look here, all of those Division I schools. Mm-hmm. They are all Division I schools.
He's got Division I size. It's just a matter of, getting his mind right.
And in what position are you going to play him in? We've seen him at the defensive tackle. He made a beautiful swim move at the defensive tackle to get in the backfield.
You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of a Noah Palmer from Thomas Jefferson.
Yes.
He's the tall, lanky kid, fast as lightning off the ball, and gets to the ball carrier no matter what.
And he's not, and you said he's not super big. He's 6'4", 230, but he's got this power for that initial jab off the line to get him that space, and then he uses his quick, explosive first step, and that gets him into the backfield. And Peters Township looks to continue that ball going here into the second half, as we will be in the mercy rule, being the score 43-0.
South Fayette led by third-year head coach TJ Plack. He's in his 8th year overall as a head coach. 41-29 overall record. He is a Duquesne grad, and his first coaching stint as a head coach, I should say, you have to go all the way back from 2002 to 2006. He was the coach for the South Fayette Lions, the previous coach before Joe Rossi became the head coach. I like that last name, by the way. But
figured you would.
Different pronunciation, but that's my fault. But he's been all over the place, Plack has. He's had assistant coaching stints at Peters Township before coming here. He was, as the head coach, as an assistant, he was here from 2007 to 2010, as you see Plack talking with the officials over at midfield. He's also had a coaching stint at conference rival Bethel Park under Jeff Matheny. And Nick Milkovich, who was also the head coach at Peters Township while he was an assistant there, he took Plack as the offensive coordinator at Ringgold from 2014 to 15 whenever Nico Law and company were there, and led an offense that averaged 32 points a game in the 2-year span he was there. Beat Thomas Jefferson, which is no easy feat. Second in the conference each year, only losing to Bell Vernon that season. And Ringgold made the semifinals in his first year as offensive coordinator.
So the pedigree is there. He's learned under valuable coaches, respected coaches in Western Pennsylvania. He's been at top-notch programs. If you really think about schools in Bethel Park, South Fayette, Ringgold. I mean, Ringgold this year is the interesting dynamic this year with their new head coach, Mike Samanajak. But you've seen it, TJ Plack, and he's come here and he's brought Peters Township, a team a school who's normally not a football school, as you think of it, now giving their name in the hat for potentially a 5A championship team to go up against Gateway.
Yeah, the two favorites in 5A, to everyone's board, including mine, Penn Hills and Gateway.
Yes,
Gateway,
I agree with you.
Gateway, the defending state champions. Penn Hills is just loaded with talent, especially out of the skill position. This Penn Hills team this year reminds me of the Monte Nicholson year. Whenever it was him, Delvon Randall, Anthony Davis.
Yeah, they were that was a special year for them. But the thing is, this Peters Township team, their defense, if it can be as stout as it looks like it can be, it's going to cause a lot of problems for some teams that are going to probably be used to putting up 35 to 40 points a night.
And that's huge because this Allegheny 8 conference, it's a defensive-minded conference. You look at the teams in the conference. Look at Upper St. Clair next week. They're a hard-nosed football team. Woodland Hills was a top defense last year. I believe they were the number one defense in the conference last season. West Allegheny, always a tough defensive team. Char Valley's getting better. Moon is getting better. Bethel Park, we know the pedigree there with Jeff Matheny and company, and they certainly can make some noise.
And they were one of the top defenses right there with Peters Township last year in the Southeastern Conference at the time.
Bethel Park was the number one defense in conference play.
Yes. So, it's a lot of defense. It's who's going to make the first mistake defensively or offensively that allows someone to capitalize on it as we get set here to start the second half.
Kicking off for West Toronto Prep, Ryan Butler, and back deep standing at about the 10-yard line. Adrian Williams on the far side. Josh Casilli is on the near side. And also, for that game next week against Upper St. Clair, if the Panthers win tonight against South Fayette, remember, Jim Render going for elusive win number 400. All-time winningest coach in WPIAL history. Butler's first kickoff of the season. It's a decent one going to the 13-yard line. Williams eludes some tacklers and spins his way forward to the 35-yard line. That's where the Indians set up shop, 1st and 10.
Yeah, nice tackle there by Talik Phillip, the freshman, as he was trying to avoid the spin move by Williams. But good field position for Peters Township. We've seen the offense sputter here of late. You look at the quarterback, Pfeiffer, he hasn't completed a pass in 5 straight attempts. He's 3 for 8 on the evening. But it's been the running game. Both running backs, Williams and Majewski, over 50 yards, both with a touchdown. Majewski has a second one as he capped off the scoring, the only scoring in the second quarter.
We got second stringers in for Peters Township. Now time to break out the good old roster. And a quarterback, the freshman Sam Miller, just at 5'8". Sends the man in motion. That's Ryan Clark. Hands the ball off. Seth Luxick getting his first crack at the ball. On offense, he gets back to maybe the line of scrimmage. He actually gains 4 progress to the 36, where he's tackled by a gang of West Toronto Prep players. 2nd and 9.
And this is valuable experience. This is what you need. It happened for Pfeiffer last year. He got that experience where he got in some games. You need these young guys to get in and get some game action. Even though it may be a blowout, it's still a chance to look at the live game.
Handoff this time to Vinny Sirianni, and Sirianni getting close to the first down marker, zigging and zagging his way through the heart of the West Toronto Prep defense and gets down to the 43-yard line where Antoine Geddes was among the tacklers.
And you're seeing a little bit more of that pickup spread offense as they get ready. As you see the replay here, hand off to the left side, Sirianni just looking through a nice little cutback move there over the 40-yard line to get inside close to the 45.
Sirianni has the first down off left side, tackled by Antoine Geddes again, down at the 46-yard line. The chains will move, and so will the clock. Just under 10 minutes to go in the third quarter.
And the thing people don't realize is when these young freshmen and sophomores who don't get a lot of playing time come in and succeed, that gives the seniors and juniors confidence in their guys below them that, hey, they can get it done. We're good. We're a whole team. We're set. We're going to be solid the whole way through. And that just builds on top of each other for the season.
1st and 10 from the 44, make that the 46-yard line. Sirianni tries to escape from the grasp, but Josh Grant can't get away from the lengthy defensive end at 6'6", and brings him down at the behind the line of scrimmage, rather. It's 2nd down. And what I've noticed with perennial powers, me being a West Allegheny grad, I've been around teams that are successful.
Yep.
What I've noticed is the more successful teams, even if they're not as talented, if they get that in-game experience, if it's in garbage time,
yeah,
they continue the success because they're getting that in-game experience as Sam Miller rolls out to his right, escapes the grasp of one of the defensive backs and slides down to the 50-yard line. He made a nifty move escaping from Josh Grant, who just froze right at the 50.
Yeah, and that was a nifty little play. Miller coming out here on your near side, rolling around, and makes a nice move. And it was actually Sabua on the coverage, and Sabua, after the play, Miller got up. Sabua tapped on the head because he got him with that little Euro step.
3rd down and 6 from midfield. Miller is in the shotgun. And Miller gives to Sirianni up the middle, and he's not going to get anywhere close to the first down marker. He's tackled by Grant and company. So Josh Grant's making a difference on the defensive end, despite the fact West Toronto Prep is trailing 43-0, and Peters Township sends out the punt team.
And to go back to your point, it's these good teams, the dynasties, you could say, that makes them look like they don't rebuild, they reload then, because those guys get that in-game experience and they know how to do it. And as the year progresses, as their starters, they slowly get better and better and better, and it builds, and that shows that they rebuild, not reload. They reload, instead of rebuild.
Oh, goodness. We got Logan Clark, the big boy, in at punter. Snap would normally go over the punter's head, but since he's 6'4", he corrals it. It's picked up by the return man at the 29-yard line. That's Ryan Butler returning the kick and getting out to the 37.
We got a penalty on the far side. It looks like it's a false start against Peters Township. And they're asking what they want to do on.
I don't think it would make much of a difference.
They're going to make them repunt it.
We'll see what our call is.
So an illegal substitution, late man getting off the field, so they're going to replay a 4th down. So the offense has got to come off the field for West Toronto Prep, and the return team's got to come back out. And are we going to see Logan Clark again at the punter position?
I sure hope so.
We're going to have to wait and see. Actually, I think we're going to get someone else. Looks like we're going to get...
Yeah, we got Luke Petrarca.
Yep. Luke Pacharka, the freshman, 6'2", 190. And we got some late guys subbing for West Toronto Prep.
Yeah, going back for West Toronto Prep is Dante Kerr, and this snap goes over the punter's head, and Petrarca just trying to jog his way back to whatever ground he lost, and he doesn't get anywhere.
So good decision there to make him re-kick. Worked out in their favor. Now you're inside the 30-yard line for the first time in today's action for West Toronto Prep.
And Michael Rochon got in on the tackle. I'll tell you what, one of the lone bright spots defensively for West Toronto Prep has been Michael Rochon. Linebacker who he's ranked by lots of Canadian websites for his ability at linebacker, and it certainly shows here tonight. He's been in on several tackles whenever he's in, and I only say that because he got hurt earlier on in the game.
And he's got that nice size, 6'2", 235. You know, it's the size you look for in a nice middle inside linebacker. Got a lot of potential to grow into.
Ethan Payne, rather, is back in at quarterback. Him and Shemang have been switching on and off after they both got a bit banged up by this tough Peters Township defense. 1st and 10 from the Peters 28. And we got moving on the right side of the offensive line. It's Tyler Horswell coming in at right guard.
Prior to the snap, full start on the offense, a 5-yard penalty, no stops.
A lot of vocal calls for Ethan Payne, as we're going to see here. And you mentioned the right guard was the first one to stand up, and the right tackle kind of looked at him and goes, "What are you doing? We said this. It's this."
It's not just the right tackle. It's everybody.
Yeah.
And
that's just frustration playing out at this point.
Yeah, because on the far side, I was seeing King Ambers looking over at his side saying, "What are you doing?" You know, it's growing pains, and whenever you get a prep school like this, especially if they're branching out from so many different areas of Canada, you can't have that team. You can't gel as well as a team like Peters Township, who have been playing together since they were 6 or 7 years old. 1st and 15, Payne drops back and throws one deep to the corner of the end zone. It's dropped by King Ambers. Pass defense on the play by Lucas Cullen, way on that far side of the field, and Ambers knew he should have had it.
A beautiful pass by Ethan Payne, and we've talked about it. We saw him do it in warm-ups. This little fade to the outer boundary puts it right behind his wide receiver, hits Ambers right in the hand, and just can't pull it in. It would have been a 1st and goal for the first time for West Toronto Prep this season, but it sets up a 2nd and long.
Peters Township defensively, this is good for them since, they haven't been tested here today, at least a whole lot, but now that West Toronto Prep is almost sniffing the end zone, now it's a chance for Peters Township to tighten up. Payne in the shotgun and wants to throw left side. It's complete on the short curl route on the near sideline. He's tackled on the play by Mike McDonald. Pulling it in was Akeen Miller. He's listed as 6'4", 190 pounds as the Z receiver.
1 yard gain on the play.
And progress is made. The bad news is it's just 1 yard, and they got 3rd and 14.
And you were mentioning about this Peters Township defense. It's the backups in once again for them on the defensive side. And it's the growing pains, We see what they can do, and maybe they can challenge the upperclassmen and make the upperclassmen work a little bit harder as the season goes on and not get complacent.
3rd and long. Payne drops back, escapes the pressure, runs forward, runs over a tackler, but falls forward and gets down to the 27-yard line. Ethan Kirsch gets in on the stop.
And it kind of looked like it was a broken play because if you watch, Payne looks around for his running back. Benjamin can't find him. He went the wrong way, and so he had to tuck and roll and go for it and picked up some valuable yards, brought it in close, and they're going to go for it. And what else you have to lose, personally, if you're West Toronto Prep?
I think they might be going for the field goal. Butler's the kicker. He drops back. This will be a 45-yard, make that 46-yard field goal attempt. But also watch the fake here. I only say that because we don't know what Butler's range is. Snap is low, kick is down, and it's up. Got plenty of leg. It's just short of the goalposts. So Butler was extremely close to getting West Toronto Prep on the board, but just not enough leg, at least for this attempt.
Yeah, it was a 45-yard attempt. Just missed it. Probably needed to kick it from about the 34-yard line, and it would have made it.
We'll step aside for a quick break on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
For the most complete recap of Friday night's high school football action, tune in on your way home from the game to the WPIAL Scoreboard Show, only here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Hi, this is Don Rebel. Join me in a cast of thousands for all the scores with recaps from the top games, plus we highlight the night on the TribLive Roundtable. That's the WPIAL Scoreboard Show after the game on Friday nights on the TribLive High School Sports Network and at tribhssn.triblive.com.
Back at it on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Ryan Butler missed a 46-yard field goal try just wide of, or just short rather, of the goalpost. And the Peters Township second string offense takes over. 1st and 10 from its own 20. On a running clock, mercy rule is in effect. 43-0. Peters leads with just under 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. The handoff to Sirianni, and nowhere to go for Sirianni. He's hit in the backfield by Amari Hastings.
Yeah, and that snap really didn't get to Miller as you watch. It really went to the right of Miller, and it kind of just went right in the gut of Sirianni. But great defensive play to get in the backfield for West Toronto Prep. Getting back there was Amari Hastings, the senior, and putting a good hit down.
Probably the best defensive lineman that West Toronto Prep has is this carry is taken, and looked like he grabbed the face mask from the vantage point that we have. It was given to Jacob McCosco.
Yeah, that one looked like a blatant face mask.
At least the way that he was turned.
Oh, the head kind of snapped back, but no call, so no gain on the play, and it'll set up a third down for Peters Township.
But hey, there's a reason why we're up here and not down there.
Yep, they get paid to do that. We get paid to call it.
Broadcast journalists, we report strictly the facts and what we see. I'll let that sink in. And now it's third down and long. The handoff to Sirianni. Off the right side, and he's aggressively tackled to the turf by Kieran Mahari Bradshaw. Big defensive tackle running all the way to the near side of the field to stop him. And Peters Township may want to punt this ball, but no signal made by head coach TJ Plack and his coaching staff, and I think they're just going to let the clock run out. 7 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and we'll go into the final 12 minutes of action of the Western PA versus Everyone Showcase. Peters Township leads West Toronto Prep 43-0 on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
If you're a working professional ready to move up in your career, Seton Hill University has a program just for you. Seton Hill's adult degree program offers flexible undergraduate degree courses in areas like accounting, criminal justice, business, and human services. The adult degree program has 5 start dates a year and offers convenient course times, financial aid, a 96% placement rate, and career services for life. Register for our next info session and learn more at setonhill.edu/ADP. Seton Hill University, this way up.
We're at the Wolvarena, George Novak Field, with Peters Township leading West Toronto Prep 43-0. And Peters Township expected to do pretty well in Allegheny 8 conference play. And certainly getting the season off to a tremendous start, leading by a ton as we begin the fourth quarter. Clock now beginning to roll. Luke Petrarca is back to punt this ball. Good snap. And it's a sky high off the top of the foot. And it's fielded by Michael Rochon off of the bounds, running to the right. And Rochon is bumped out of bounds, making the stop. Sloan Keller able to push him out inside the 20-yard line, but nonetheless It'll be West Toronto Prep, best starting field position of the night from the 20.
Give Roshan credit there. Runs up from the line of scrimmage, comes back, picks up the ball right around the 30-yard line, and then turns and runs it upfield and gives his team great field position, and hopefully he can get something going here. Really haven't seen much of Wesley Shaminga since the big hit he took that kind of maybe got him a little woozy. He looked like he was really slow to get off the turf, and we've seen Ethan Payne. He's made some nice throws, but none of his wide receivers have been able to pull it in.
First down and 10 for West Toronto Prep at the 23-yard line. Ethan Payne in the shotgun. Payne hands off to his running back, Benjamin, and Benjamin has a wide open lane, runs over a tackler at the 20. Flags fly as Benjamin streaking to the end zone and is taken out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Someone's helmet from Peters Township came flying jarringly off. That's the helmet of Dylan Wente.
We might get illegal hands to the face here, as it looked like Nico Pate, the freshman, met Benjamin, and Benjamin won that battle as he plowed him over at about the 15-yard line. Nice run.
He said, "Nice to meet you."
Nice to meet you. Here's a shoulder pad for you to munch on a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Does it taste good? He says no.
And it was a one bite. Everyone knows the rules.
Yeah.
Give it about a 2.5 rating.
Making a play without a helmet. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
So it's on Wente for trying to make the play after his helmet came off. The rule is once your helmet's off, done.
You're done. You might as well sit on the turf and wait for the play to end.
I mean, it makes sense as a rule.
Oh, yeah. You can get serious injury that way if you decide to make a play without your helmet on.
Right. Now, Ethan Payne leads his offense to the 5. He's in the shotgun. Hand off to Benjamin. Off the left side. Gets some blocks from his offensive line, and Benjamin close. And he looks like he's down at the 1-yard line. Benjamin got a great block from the left tackle, Hastings, over top of one of the defensive ends. You see here on the replay, just a tremendous block from Hastings on that left tackle position.
Yeah, but a nice job by Donovan McMillan and Lucas Cullen coming in and making the tackle.
Benjamin again, and he's in for the touchdown. Jacob Benjamin plows his way through the heart of the Peters Township defense, and West Toronto Prep has its first points of the season.
A nice hard-nosed run. Handoff right up the middle. Benjamin met in the backfield. Initial charge was led by Jake Petreka, and he was able to fight through as Benjamin and find his way into the end zone for the first points of the season for West Toronto Prep.
And now they can cap it off with an extra point attempt coming up for West Toronto Prep. It's weird to say West Toronto Prep all the time, but they don't have a mascot.
I looked online. I was trying to see if they had a mascot, and they didn't. I was like, okay, looks like we're going West Toronto Prep.
And we're going with a false start on West Toronto Prep. That one's called on the left side of the offensive line. And we'll retry the extra point.
It's about the 9th false start for West Toronto Prep this game. Just putting it together.
I think we have an idea of what they're going to be doing in practice on Monday.
Yeah, I think they're going to be calling a lot of snap counts, and better hold your position.
But Butler is now attempting the extra point from the 15, so there'll be a 25-yard extra point out of the hold of Ethan Payne. Snap is good, and we got another flag.
Roshan wasn't set on the left side this time, and it's going to be another false start. He was trying to get in position, trying to make sure everyone on the line itself was set. So another 5-yard penalty, but we saw Ryan Butler attempted a 45-yarder, was short about 5 yards, so he's got the leg.
If it was that close, I mean, it was very, very tight.
So, I mean, we've seen the leg that he can make what would now be a 30-yard extra point.
Snap down, good hold, kick is up, right down the middle. So all of that for a successful extra point for West Toronto Prep with 9:55 to go in the game. West Toronto Prep now gets on the scoreboard, but trails 43-7 to Peters Township on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
There's a new fear, not of better options, of rising loan rates. It's real. Rates have gone up, and Dollar Bank still has one of the lowest around. With a rate as low as 3.29% APR with only $50,000 borrowed, fixed for 7 years, there's nothing to fear. You can renovate the kitchen or update a bathroom or two. So lock in your rate now before they, well, I don't want to say it out loud. If choosing the better option is your worry, you can be confident that Dollar Bank's loan experts have only your best interests in mind, since they're not paid a commission. So lock in your rate before they go up again. Get those home improvements done with a rate as low as 3.29% APR, fixed for 7 years. Longer terms are available. Stop by, call 1-800-242-BANK, or visit dollar.bank. Dollar Bank, mutually inspired. Rate is for well-qualified borrowers and includes a discount with a maintained qualifying checking account. Not available for the refinance of a Dollar Bank loan, line, or mortgage of less than $15,000 in new money. Monthly payment of $13.34 per $1,000 borrowed. Other terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice. Equal housing lender.
43-7 your score as West Toronto Prep having troubles with setting the ball up on the tee. Ryan Butler to do the kicking, and back deep for Peters Township. They're standing all the way back at the 2-yard line. This is a low kick taken at the 4-yard line. This is Cullen running from left to right and puts his head down, falls forward to the 23, where Peters Township will start there, 1st and 10.
Make sure to stay tuned to here to the Trib High School Sports Network, as another game will be following ours shortly after, as Pittsburgh Central Catholic will take on Erie Cathedral Prep here in the Western PA versus Everybody Showcase, the inaugural season.
Which doesn't make sense to me because Erie Cathedral Prep is technically in Western Pennsylvania.
They're not WPIAL, let's say
Okay.
that. They're district.
If we want to be politically correct, let's do Southwestern Pennsylvania versus everybody else.
Or we're going to do WPIAL versus everybody else.
We got a flag on the play before we even take any snaps.
I think we're getting a legal sub.
I think so too, but we're going to wait. Bingo. So we got Central Catholic hanging out in the corner of the end zone on the near side by the concession stand. Erie Cathedral Prep is hanging out downstairs right below us. And here comes the handoff to Sirianni. He takes a big hit from the linebacker. Charges forward to the 20. Picks up 2 of those 5 yards lost on the false start.
And it being a 43-7 game, it was 36-0 for the whole first quarter. This game, I give both teams credit. Both have been disciplined. Both have not gotten cheap, dirty, or anything like that. Both have been disciplined, and that's a great sign even for a second-year program in West Toronto Prep.
And the closest thing we've had to a dirty play was Hondrew putting his head down, but I don't think he did that on purpose.
No, that was both players, just their head both went down, they made contact, and that was the penalty. It wasn't like he was targeting.
The handoff going to the first man through the line. That's Michael Payton. Correction. That is Nico Pate going up the middle. Down to the 21-yard line he goes. It's 3rd down and 12. But as RJ was alluding to, Central Catholic Erie Prep coming up immediately after this game. It's a rematch of last year's Week 0 game. Erie Cathedral Prep, the reigning state champions, got that season started with a 40-7 shellacking of Pittsburgh Central Catholic as we get a timeout called on the play. Coming up after the game, it's the WPIAL Football Scoreboard Show with Don Rebel from the new TribLive High School Sports Network headquarters with all the scores and recaps from Week 0 of WPIAL football. Don't miss the WPIAL Football Scoreboard Show after the game, only here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. And most of those games that they'll be talking about are just getting underway, as a matter of fact. Almost all of these games just beginning moments ago, such as, for example, the Norwin Knights. They were very highly touted. Norwin already leads Penn Trafford 14-0, and that's with 3 minutes to go in the first quarter.
Yeah, and Don was mentioning on the pregame show, you got some rivalries that are coming back together.
Snap goes over the head of the quarterback, Sam Miller. Him and Nico Pate just looked at it fly by their faces, and it's recovered back at the 7-yard line. It'll be 4th and forever, but it'll be a punt situation. And that Norwin team is going to be really, really good, at least this year. I think they're the sleeper team in 6A. I don't think there's any doubt.
Yes.
If the problem is, if Pine Richland wasn't in that conference, if North Allegheny didn't have Joey Porter Jr., that's their biggest problem. And depending on how the Central Catholic team is, you never know. And here comes the punt. It's underway, and a player runs into the punter. No flag thrown as Petrarca's kick is out of bounds at the 32.
Yeah, 6A, it's an interesting dynamic. You got, potentially Seneca Valley could be a team that kind of challenges someone. Pine Richland, how do they respond after Phil Dracovic has graduated and gone on to Notre Dame? And you mentioned Norwin. 6A is, no one truly knows who it's gonna be. How is this, what is now a young Central Catholic team gonna respond this year? It's up in the air, and it's gonna be an interesting year. And I think you're gonna see that parity throughout all the classifications in the WPIAL.
And speaking of Pine Richland, that game just kicked off with IMG Academy, so that'll be something that we'll be paying very close attention to, I'm sure, as the night progresses.
Oh,
I think the offense there for West Toronto Prep was just trying to shift, and they all miscommunicated. That's the 11th false start. That's a false start for every player. In American football and Canadian football, you're allowed 12 players.
And the replay, well, you would allow to be in motion. The running back coming out of the backfield, Josh Lamemba, would be able to go in motion, but the right tackle, however, would not be able to.
Right. That's Jaheim Johnson that jumped. 1st and 15 now. And again, it's Johnson and Horswell.
And now they're looking at each other. The snap count's off. Either the center's not getting the right snap count, because it looks like Ethan Payne's ready for the ball when the guys are moving, because you see everyone kind of twitch a little bit, but it's been the right side who have moved the most and drawn the penalty.
West Toronto Prep has more penalty yards than it has total yards of offense in this game.
Yeah, it hasn't been a great day overall for West Toronto Prep.
You talk about the discipline. In terms of being dirty, obviously they haven't been dirty. It's just the lack of discipline in the snap count as Payne rushes towards the far end zone and gets back to the original line of scrimmage, but nothing more, as he's ran out of bounds by Ethan Kirsch just in front of the original line of scrimmage. He'll be ruled out at the 34-yard line.
And with that run, West Toronto Prep now has 50 yards of total offense.
It took them a while, but we got there.
We got there. Just to put that in perspective, Peters Township, both Majewski and Williams have over 50 yards rushing alone. So,
take that as you will.
Making progress, though.
Any progress is progress. But hey, if you get a team like Peters Township, hopefully for their sake they can compete more with some of the better teams. This will just make them better in the long run, as a screen pass is complete to Benjamin, and Benjamin stiff arms a man going down the near sideline, and Benjamin taken hard out of bounds on the play by Donovan McMillan, and he just that was a brutal stiff arm. I'm at a loss for words for that one.
Sloan Keller, the junior, you're going to watch here, just takes a massive stiff arm by the big running back in Benjamin. Benjamin's 232, 6'1", comes in. There's Keller.
Nope.
See ya. And inside to the 15 to the 10-yard line. And a 1st and goal for West Toronto Prep.
I have a funny feeling that's going on his huddle tape.
I would put it on the huddle tape as well. I don't blame him.
Now West Toronto Prep with its second 1st and goal opportunity. This time the ball is spotted at the 10.
24-yard gain that pass was. Benjamin made about 15 of it with that stiff arm there.
Mm-hmm. Briones goes in motion, takes the jet sweep right to left, and Briones gets away from some tacklers and turns the corner into the end zone. West Toronto Prep touchdown, but there's a flag behind the play.
I think we're going to get a holding.
Yeah. I think it's on Tyler Horswell. He looked at the flag and immediately
looked up to the skies for some answers. A beautiful run, a beautiful jet sweep performed by the West Toronto Prep as Ethan Payne was able to get off to Briones. You'll see here Briones will come into your screen right there. Handoff, a little delayed. Makes a nice move on the outside, a little stutter step, nice little juke move, sees the far pylon, goes for it, and he was in, but unfortunately comes back because of the penalty.
I was looking at Horswell the whole time, the right guard, and he gave his defensive lineman a hug.
Oof.
So that will certainly cost you, and unfortunately for West Toronto Prep, that's kind of been the story of the night, just trying to make progress, shooting itself in the foot.
Yeah, so first and goal, but from the 25-yard line now for West Toronto Prep. But we've seen some big plays now come out for this offense and just building a little bit of confidence going into the rest of their season.
Payne in the shotgun. Takes the snap. Throws. Screen pass to Briones. Complete on the left side. Gets a block. But beautiful job by the Peters Township tackler to shed that block on the far side of the field and making the stop. That was Sloan Keller who was put on that poster, able to make up for that with a nice open field tackle at the 22. You see here Keller getting blocked there.
Yeah, Jay Greaves just kind of blocks Keller right into it, and Keller also able to fight off and get one arm loose and make the tackle. So it was a nice play by Keller, but not the greatest block by Greaves on the outside. If he's able to sustain that block and close him off, then Briones is probably up the sideline. We're going to see him right around the 10-yard line as there was a swarm of Peters Township Indians coming in for the tackle.
And Payne on a broken play, throws middle of the end zone. It's bobbled around and dropped by the diving receiver. That would have been an impressive catch by King Ambers or Jay Greaves if he could hold on. But unfortunately for West Toronto Prep, he couldn't.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. It looked like Justin Fawcett. He went left, and he was supposed to go right as Payne was there. But nice job by Payne to stay cool, calm. Threw a nice ball, just a little bit out of reach for Greaves, and it falls to the turf. But nice play, and we've seen Ethan Payne with that arm here in the second half of the game.
And if West Toronto Prep gets into the end zone before the end of this game, we're under a minute now in the fourth quarter. Certainly a confidence booster going forward. West Toronto Prep has Pickerington Central next week over in Ohio. Payne drops back, throws behind his back, being covered, and it's intercepted in the end zone. Mike McDonald with the pick at the goal line, and that's the nail in the coffin officially.
Yeah, Payne just looking to force something there. Kind of pressure, the puck collapse, throws back to the near sideline, trying to go up for a jump ball, but underthrows it. Intended man on the play was Kyman Simpson, the senior, but underthrew it, and McDonald was able to come up with the pick and seal the win for Peters Township.
More than likely, Peters Township will go in a winning formation. Peters Township winning in week 0, 43-7 over West Toronto Prep. An impressive showing by the Peters Township Indians, and certainly what the doctor ordered, given that Peters' schedule very top-heavy with 3 potential conference challengers coming up, as we got a running play instead of a victory formation going to the right side. And taking that was Nico Pate again. And now that'll be the end of the game. So now officially, we can say that Peters Township is 1-0, 43-7 victors over West Toronto Prep. Impressive performance, especially from the starting rotation in the first quarter, scoring 36 of the 43 points in the first 11 minutes of the game. And we'll have that and more on the post-game recap on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
Respect I have for my opponents, the trust I have in my teammates, a coach who treats me with dignity, and a university that has faith in me on and off the field. That's what keeps me focused, why I practice harder, play my heart out. I play to win. I play for Carlo. Tell us your story using #WhatDriveSYou.
Carlo University is a proud sponsor of the TribLive High School Sports Network.
TribLive has a little something for everyone. Sports from high school to the pros. News from across the street and around the world. Arts and entertainment, lifestyles, opinion, weather, photo galleries, video. You can even find your next job, house, and car. So look alive, Pittsburgh, and get the news you want and information you need all in one place. TribLive.com. TribLive.com. News and more 24/7.
Log on every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock for the latest high school football news during This Week in the WPIAL, only here on the new TribLive High School Sports Network. Join Don Rebel and other members of the TribLive High School Sports Network team as it visits with WPIAL football coaches, plus they run down the upcoming schedule and preview the weekend's top high school football games. That's This Week in the WPIAL, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. this fall, only on the new TribLive High School Sports Network.
380 Discount Warehouse in Murraysville carries a full line of brand new furniture at discount pricing. 380 Discount Warehouse carries Ashley, Liberty, Von Bassett, and Best Home Furniture, and many more. You can special order your furniture at discount pricing. While you're there, shop the many other departments, including tools, automotive, food, pet and wildlife, household goods and cleaning supplies, lawn and garden, and seasonal holiday decor. Visit them on the web at shop380.com or on the road on Route 380 in Murraysville. Open Tuesday through Sunday, 9 to 5. Shop 380 Discount Warehouse and save big.
For the most complete recap of Friday night's high school football action, tune in on your way home from the game to the WPIAL Scoreboard Show, only here on the TribLive High School Sports Network. Hi, this is Don Rebel. Join me in a cast of thousands for all the scores with recaps from the top games, plus we highlight the night on the TribLive Roundtable. That's the WPIAL Scoreboard Show after the game on Friday nights on the TribLive High School Sports Network and at tribhssn.triblive.com.
We're back on the TribLive High School Sports Network. The Peters Township Indians, you see on your screen, getting an impressive 43-7 win over West Toronto Prep, starting the season off in style, and RJ Leisie has some of the statistical breakdowns from Peters Township's performance.
Yeah, for Peters Township, the two stars were the running backs, Adrian Williams. He had 6 total rushes for 50 yards, 7 total rushes, for 52 yards. He also had a touchdown. And then Ryan Majewski, he had 6 rushes for 50 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. And it was really the big punt return to special teams, a 60-yard return by Aiden McCall, that really kind of put the final nail in the scoring for Peters Township and kind of ended it all for West Toronto Prep to have any total confidence coming back. West Toronto Prep, total of 83 yards on the night, most of it coming in the fourth quarter, as they actually got a chunk of passing, 28 yards, came from in the fourth quarter. They only had 17 in the whole first half. So good defensive showing by Peters Township overall and able to capitalize on mistakes.
West Toronto Prep goes back to the drawing board, starting the season 0-1, and of course the gauntlet of its schedule just beginning with Pickerington Central next week, and then doesn't get any easier. Massillon Perry, Brentwood Academy in Tennessee, Cardinal Mooney, Cathedral Prep, who you're going to see in just a few moments, St. Francis Academy, just to name a few of those teams. The schedule does not get any easier for West Toronto Prep. Peters Township will take on Upper St. Clair next week. The Panthers are squaring off with South Fayette as we speak. And then following that, Peters Township hosts Woodland Hills in the home opener and then travels to West Allegheny in the first 3 weeks of conference play. RJ, it's been fun. Glad to have you here on the TribLive High School Sports Network.
It's been enjoyable. Good game for Peters Township and WPIAL to start off this little showcase they've got going here at Woodland Hills.
For RJ Leisie, I'm Brandon Rossi signing off for Game 1. Stick around for Game number 2. Lanny Fratteri and Bobby O have the call for Pittsburgh Central Catholic and Erie Cathedral Prep. It's Billy Lucas versus Brian Dallas and company on the TribLive High School Sports Network coming up next. But for now, final score, Peters Township 43, West Toronto Prep 7. Good night from the Wolvarena.